Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
Thanks.
I've been in the danger zone.
He got a bat.
Minus 5 stars.
Mango.
Huh? We got for you,
Jeff Harvey.
How much does this guy weigh?
Play.
Play 21.
Well, what is going down, everybody? Welcome back to a very special edition of Am I Still on the Air? It's been a minute since we've done one of these, long overdue, but it was time because just hitting theaters this weekend, it actually just came out yesterday, and we didn't want to waste no time, is jumping right into the spoiler review of Thor Ragnarok. So we're jumping right into it. We are going to discuss the movie in full, what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between, where we're going from here. I'm so excited about this. It's one of the biggest movies, and it's in November. You know, usually we only kind of stick to a lot of these spoiler reviews during the summertime when all the big blockbusters are dropping, but, you know, this is one of the biggest ones of them all. It's going to be one of the biggest movies of the year, easily, so we need to talk about it. So I'm your host, Don Mega, and joining me tonight is a couple other Marvel fans over here. We got Peeps and we got Friggin. So what up, y'all?
What up? What up? I was just waiting for Friggin so I can just do whatever he did. Sorry.
It was like a total echo action going on here. It's going to be pretty sweet. Yeah. We'll probably do it the whole time, right?
What up? What up? That's not going to get old at all.
No, it's already old.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, Don. No, I mean, appreciate it.
For sure, man. It's good to be back.
Yes, it is good to be back. You know, we always got to call the team together when these comic book movies drop, because we got to discuss. We got to talk about everything in between, and I definitely wanted to break up this one here, because now this movie is already being generally loved all around the world, except for one little man, and his name is Peeps over here, and he wasn't too thrilled with the film, which makes me very sad because I don't understand how it's the best reviewed movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't know anybody that doesn't like this film, but of course leave it to Peeps to be that one. So you know what? That's why we like it. That's why we do this show, because I love to have opposing views. Let's get the discussion going. Let's talk about it. You know, I don't want to just always talk with everybody that just loves everything. Let's have the positive, the negative, and we'll discuss it. We'll break it down. So once again, this is your last warning. This is spoiler filled. If you want a non-spoiler version, just watch my Stardust reaction or listen to the new Am I on the Air that'll be coming out this weekend, and we'll keep a little non-spoiler review there for you. But this one here, spoiler filled, last warning. We're breaking this damn thing down. We're going to talk about all of it. So there you go. We're talking Thor Ragnarok. This is the 16th film, I believe, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is just insane. It's the third Thor movie, and I could be the best Thor movie that we have had, and for me, one of the best overall films in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Absolutely love this thing. Saw it last night, opening night in IMAX, and went again this morning already. Took my daughter to see it and watched it again just in standard, and loved it just as much the second time around. So this movie is just fun. If you got to put out one word on it, it's fun. Taika Waititi is the director, and a lot of people don't know who this guy is. I've seen a couple of his movies. His most popular one you can actually stream on Amazon Prime and Hulu, I believe. It's called What We Do in the Shadows, and it's a really good little spook documentary on vampires, it's really, really funny. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Also on Hulu is his other film, The Hunt for the Wilder People. But he's a very unique director, and he actually also plays Korg in the movie, who was I thought one of the standout characters. I can't wait to see this dude pop up in other films, because he's this gigantic rock creature, but he talks like this, man. Hey, what's up? It's Korg.
Hey, bro. Yeah.
The bro was great.
Hey, bro. Hey, what's up? Hey, get out of here, ghost. So,
that was the best.
You know, he's like, his name is Doug. Doug. Oh yeah, Doug's dead.
Okay.
So, That was one of the most out loud laughs I had in the theater last night. Was when he said, "Who is anybody? Who's here that's fought him? Oh, that's Doug. Hey, Doug. Oh yeah, Doug's dead."
Yeah.
Okay, new Doug.
Okay, and then Thor's like, "Well, I'm gonna go fight him." All right, new Doug. So, just a great character, not utilized enough, but when he was on screen, it was perfect. And his little buddy Meek was awesome as well. And
My gosh.
Meek, who hopefully he was laying eggs, or maybe he was shitting all over the floor. Who knows what Meek was doing over there? But we're gonna go with laying eggs.
That'll work.
But a very unique director, like I said, Taika Waititi, who took the reins on this thing. He comes from a comedy background, and he did, something really special with this film, which he made it super funny. But there's also a lot of great action in the film, and it definitely has some very dark moments in it. I mean, I honestly think more people died in this film than probably any other Marvel movie when it really comes
That's a good
down
point.
to it. So, for as funny as it was actually really dark if you really think about it. So, like I said, we basically are taking place after Age of Ultron, where Thor has, he's gone away. He's trying to find the Infinity Gems, and we find him in the beginning of the movie on this planet, and basically he's tied up. It's that scene from the trailer where he comes flipping down in the chains, and there you have Surtur, who basically is the demonic creature who says, "I'm bringing Ragnarok," and he's going to bring it all. And Thor breaks out of the chains and has this amazing fight, dude. I want to talk about this opening sequence because I thought, in comes the Led Zeppelin, just like the trailer. Dun, 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 and he grabs the hammer and he just starts fucking people up, and it was so good. And you even got hammer vision in this fucking scene where the camera is just following the hammer flying around, ripping into people. And this fight was just incredible to kick the movie off right off the gate. He beats Surtur, basically chops his head off, and just does the stuff he was doing with the hammer was just so badass in this beginning part of the scene before he finally gets his way back to Asgard. So I'll start with you, Friggins. What did you tell me about? What was your thoughts of kind of just the opening sequence there?
Dude, it was just a great way to get us all super pumped up and ready to go. I mean, we had the tease with the trailer for that song, and it was as soon as I heard that song, it was like, okay, here we go. And I loved it. I thought the graphics were amazing. The spinning hammer thing was fantastic, and they beefed it up even from the movies before. If you watch the first one, he's just kind of spinning it, and it's just doing his thing. This one, you can see the hammer kind of glowing as he's spinning it. I absolutely loved it. I just got really pumped. I mean, it was with the comedy start, I was a little oh, where's this gonna go? And then once they started fighting, I was like, all right. But I think the music definitely had a huge impact on the emotion for that opening scene, and maybe it played off of what we saw in the trailer. But once I heard that, it's just everything changed. I just had the energy vibes going through my body. Yes, here we go, finally.
Yeah, that song, I mean, they couldn't have found, I think, a better track. It was one of those things where a lot of times the song they use in the trailer isn't even in the movie when the movie comes out. So
right.
It was really cool because I love that song in that trailer. It goes so well with the actual trailer that I wasn't sure if they were going to convey it in, and they do. And it's not the last time that you hear that song in the movie either, so we'll talk about that later. But yeah,
well, that's funny you point that out because that was one of my first thoughts. Is wait, this is awesome and I'm pumped, but damn it, I'm not going to hear the song again.
Exactly. I never would have imagined it would have came back into play later, but they choose the right moments for it. And yeah, how can you not be pumped with this thing when he's spinning that hammer? And I love how he did so much more flying just in this little sequence here.
Oh yeah.
He's flying all over, just smashing people, and when he's flying in front of the dragon, and he flies when he gets back to Asgard. I love that they focused more on the flying in this, and I loved when he rolled down on the chain and he's talking to Surtur, and then he's spinning around and he's like, hold on. And then he's
yes, and then Surtur started going off again. I'm like, here it comes.
Here it comes. Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, wait, hold on. And as he's spinning around again, he's like, I swear I'm not even doing anything. I don't know what's going on.
But that was one of the beauties. You could see that joke coming back around because it's just going.
Literally.
So good. So peeps, okay, opening sequence here. How'd you think it kicked off?
So generally, when it comes to films and whatnots, I mean, I always feel like the beginning of the movie is always going to set the tone for the rest of the movie. It's the film's way of telling you if you're not going to if you're not enjoying yourself within the first 5 minutes, you're probably not going to like it. What else that we have to offer to you. And I mean, I mirror exactly everything you guys said. I mean, I was like, why is Thor sitting there talking to a skeleton other than to be hilarious right now? But I'm not being overly critical about that. But yeah, but as you guys said, I mean, can't really add anything else to it. I mean, when I first saw Surtur, I mean, I'm not huge into the comic book world, but I know who Surtur is, and I know how much of a big deal he is, especially to Thor. So from seeing him right off the bat, I got super stoked and super excited. So not just that, the fights and what was that one? He held his hand. He was like, I can't remember what he said. You saw it earlier today, Dom, but it was like, and you'll be defeated.
Yeah, he's
okay,
because that's what heroes do. And then it didn't go.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on, sorry, my timing's
He's
off.
like, I timed that wrong.
And then that's what heroes do, and then finally came.
Yeah, no, again, man, it was good and it was funny. Like, yeah, I liked it. Like everything you guys said, it was a great start to the movie, and I don't know, it was dope. It was really dope. I mean, like you said, Hammer Vision.
Hammer Vision, dude, sick.
Fuck.
That was such a beautiful shot, though. Like just following the hammer around, and I love how it's focused on the hammer, and then kind of out of focus in the background, you just see him fighting. I mean, it was just like cinematography on that scene specifically was just on point. So good.
What? And then because you had the aerial view of it going around, whipping everybody, and then there was
Right.
one shot where he threw it, and then the camera was in front of the hammer, so it goes forward, knocking everything, and then he sticks his hand up, so it does this, and then goes backwards the other way,
Around.
and then the camera follows it right back to his hand, and I was like, oh my god, this shit's so sick, like right off the bat. It was
awesome.
so good, man. What an awesome opening right there. So basically after this he gets back to Asgard, which he finds out. See, this was something too that I saw a lot of people kind of complaining about, the fact of how did Thor find out so fast that it wasn't Odin and that it was Loki basically disguised, that he kind of figured it out too quick. And one of the things I think a lot of people overlooked is when he is with Surtur, he says something about Odin, and Surtur goes, Odin's not even on Asgard. So that there, a lot of people missed that little drop right there. That
I missed it, so yeah.
Yeah, Surtur,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Surtur told him Odin's not even on Asgard. So then when he comes back and he's seeing what's going on, which of course was great, he's watching the play of what went down in Thor: The Dark World, and you got Matt Damon playing Loki, which was so fucking awesome. I was like,
So
I
what
awesome.
the
didn't catch that until like afterwards. You're like, did you catch? Like, no fucking way.
Yeah, dude. Matt Damon was Loki. I was just like, oh my god. I was like, I gotta know the backstory to how the fuck that came about.
Yeah, really.
Because it is so
But
random.
if you think about it, they're brothers, right? They grew up together. He knows everything about him. Also, his dad. He knows everything about his dad. So even if he didn't connect that dot from what Surtur had said, like he's gonna know that like Odin's not gonna be kicking back, eating grapes like that, like just chilling. Like that's not the kind of ruler he is, and it's just he would connect those dots no matter what.
Well,
I think so. I mean, making the whole iron thing of Loki.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Loki's the greatest.
Yeah, yeah, the big statue, and then Odin's supposedly just eating grapes, chilling. I liked when Thor popped up and he goes, "Oh shit!" I was like, "That's awesome."
That was awesome.
And then he throws the hammer and basically puts Loki in front of him and is like, "You better reveal yourself, or my hammer will come back and come through anything to get to me." He's like, "All right."
That was a really good point. Like, I never really kind of connected using it in that way, because we've seen him use it as like, let me set this on top of you so you can't go anywhere.
Right.
But we've never seen it like using like I don't know.
With that
I just thought it was
dragon, which I thought was pretty cool when he was fighting that dragon.
Right.
He
That
just
was
threw it on its
perfect.
mouth and then he's like, "Stay."
Friggins, for a second, did you think that was like the Midgard serpent they were going to try to weasel in there?
To be honest, all I could think about was my crazy ass dog, and I was like, I need that for my dog. No, I didn't.
To drop
I
it
didn't
in
think
his
of-
mouth? That's horrible.
So he would just sit there because my dog's a maniac. But no, no, I didn't even connect about. I didn't even think about this. I just thought it was a cool dragon, so I was like, yeah, that's sweet.
All right on.
It wasn't Fin Fang Foom.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You got to give him pants though, so that would work.
Pants. That's true.
So, so as much as they kind of did the whole figure out thing, because I know, you remember, if we go back a couple years when everybody was speculating what's Thor 3 going to be about, we all thought it was going to be this big movie about Thor being on Asgard and kind of getting fucked over by his dad, who was basically Loki, just kind of manipulating everything. Just totally thought of this whole other story. So it was kind of weird, like how they just kind of got past it like really fast, which I dug, because it was like, okay, cool, we don't have to spend a bunch of time here. And they revealed himself. There was like, where's Odin at? We got to find him. They go to New York, which was awesome. And then, of course, we see Doctor Strange. This sequence I thought was fantastic as well. I would say I'm a little bummed that Strange wasn't in it a little bit more, because I remember when they started filming, there was a lot of articles that said, oh, it's more than a cameo. Like, he's actually going to be in a good amount of this film. But it really was just that beginning part of them finding out where Odin was. I thought it was cool as hell when they're standing in the street and you see the little come around Loki's feet, and you're like, strange, all right, let's go.
Yeah, it's funny. At first, I was like, what the hell just happened? And then it took me a second. I was like, oh, yeah, fucking Strange. Okay, I got it. It was the
little gold rings that
sparkles.
They do. Yeah, the little sparks,
yeah.
What I liked about it is it's like finally connecting the dots of like everyone kind of being there at the same time. Because if you think about Doctor Strange, like he would notice something like Asgardians coming to Earth, right? So it's like finally someone's like, some bad guy just showed up. I gotta go take care of this before it gets worse. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I just really appreciate that, because there's so many times, like, one of the complaints we've seen is with like Thor: Dark World, where all that stuff's going on and Thor's the only one stopping. No other Avengers or no one else came to help.
Right.
And it's finally like, yes, Doc Strange is like, Loki just showed up. I'm going to go put a stop to this real quick. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a cool touch. Although I will say, I don't think I needed Doctor Strange to be in the movie. So I liked it, but I didn't need it, if that makes sense. But it was cool.
I mean, it makes sense, but I dug it. I think I would like it more that he was in there than if that scene wasn't there. Because I mean, it made it exciting to kind of have as like a little connected part, to get Strange in there a little bit more. You now have Thor has met Doctor Strange, so it makes it even better for when Infinity War comes. They're going to have some sort of a connection together to work together, so that's kind of cool, because they can kind of gloss over some of that other stuff. It was a nice connective tissue to actually bring them to Odin. Since, in the way it played out too, that it wasn't just like Loki knew exactly where he was. It was like Loki was like, I don't even know where the fuck he's at this point.
He was right here.
So yeah, he's like, so. But that scene was great, and what I loved about it too was, I mean, it literally was the piece of that after credit scene from Doctor Strange. It literally was that same scene, just extended. Where he's drinking the beer and he's talking, and it fills
he filled
back
it up.
Yeah. So I was like,
that really shocked me. I didn't realize that. And plus, actually, my cousin Brian, he told me when we were after the movie that Waititi actually got credited as a director for whatever movie that was on. What was that? Guardians? I can't even
that
remember.
was Strange.
No, it was Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doctor Strange. Yeah, you just said that. So he actually got credited as like director, because that scene was actually from here where he's being the director. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. But I didn't even, when we saw that, someone asked me like, oh, was that scene from the Thor movie? I was like, that's not going to be the actual scene. But they straight up just used the actual scene.
Yeah, I think they changed the wording a little bit, because I'm pretty sure in the Doctor Strange after credit scene, Strange says to him, if I help you find Odin, will you leave Earth and never come back? Take your brother and your dad and never return? And he goes, yes. And then and he's like, all right, let's do it. And then that's the after credit scene. But in the movie, he says, if I help you find him, will you guys go back to Asgard? But he doesn't say the like never come back like part, which is like from the other thing, So they did tweak it a little bit, but it is in essence that exact same scene with the do you drink tea? Oh, I don't drink tea, and then it's the big beer and it refills itself and everything. But I loved how Strange kept just like porting him to like other sections of the fucking house,
So-
and he's like, "Whoa!" Like all fucking like just getting jostled and like.
So-
I
so-
was
Will you
confused
stop
by that.
doing
It was
that?
really funny.
So
I was like, was
here-
he super drunk?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's random Peeps moment where, oh God, Peeps. But like that kind of annoyed me. I'm just like,
Oh.
all right, so they need a ring and do this circular thing to make this giant portal to teleport to walk through. But now he could just snap his fingers and they just appear wherever he fucking wants them to appear. Like what? But maybe comic book nerd. Maybe it's the house, Sean. Man, when
I was
you're
just
in the
gonna say
sanctuary
that.
house, the house is actually quite different, and the laws of physics don't count the way they normally. So maybe that's the case. I don't know. I'm not a comic book doctor like Friggins is, but
Well,
that
if you were paying attention to the movie, there was
Oh,
also
God.
wearing the gloves. So maybe the gloves had extra power too.
the fuck. Oh yeah.
You know, the yellow gloves? You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
yep. The gloves of reality warpingness.
He
You're
needed
right.
the black dots on them, but whatever. I'm not going to be that picky.
Fucking man, costume guy. I
Oh, yeah.
honestly thought to myself, like, Friggins is gonna love it. I think you've talked about the yellow gloves before or something. So.
Oh, yeah. When I saw the first movie, I was like, how come we didn't get the gloves?
Yeah.
Doctors wearing gloves. That's weird. Nah, I don't know. I mean, again, that was fine. It was fine. Like, it was a little weird for me. They were kind of jumping all over the place. I will say it
I
was
loved
fucking
it.
funny when Loki was like, I was just falling for 30 minutes.
Yeah. When Loki would, can I get my brother back? Oh yeah, and he just falls. I have been falling for 30 minutes. Yeah.
Dude, I cracked up so hard at that joke. That was probably like the second hardest joke for me. I don't know. It just really like struck me. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. It was a fun scene. I'm a little annoyed, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit later with Sean's pet peeves, but I was just a little annoyed. It's like, hey Loki, you kind of stripped Dad of his power and banished him to Earth. So come on, let's go hang out. Let's go for a ride, and let's go get him back. I don't want to get him back. Come on, let's go for a ride. So I don't know. I don't know.
So we basically go on to then Strange opens the portal, puts them through it, and we're off to find Odin. And Odin's basically in the same place where I think he was filming Transformers. So I think that's where they were like, let's just go ahead and film on this cliffside, because I feel like that's the same cliffside from the last Transformers movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see that movie, so I'm going to go with you guys on that one.
Which is where Anthony Hopkins lived. This is where Anthony Hopkins' character lived in that movie. So, they were like, hey, we just need you real quick, all right? Like, come on down to the set.
5 minutes.
We'll knock this out, all right? So, basically...
I did see a little, I was trying to look at Easter eggs or whatever, but apparently in the comic books, and I'm not going to get too much into this, but apparently in the comics, Thor and the Phoenix Force has a bit of a fling going on between them. So when I said Thor, I meant to say Odin.
I was like, what?
In the end, when he says, all right, I'm going to do Mufasa and just disappear into nothingness, and he disappeared, apparently the gold dust formed the shape of like a bird, phoenix-ish kind of thing at a certain point. I don't know. I've seen the movie once. I got to check it again to see if that's true. But I guess that was a little fun Easter egg, maybe that they threw in there. I don't know.
I didn't even catch that. Nice.
Yeah, it did definitely look like a bird shape. So for sure. So I didn't know what that meant, but basically, yeah. So you got Thor and Loki talking to him, saying, "Hey, we're gonna bring you home." He basically says it's too late. Oh, by the way, Hela's on her way, and she's your sister, my firstborn, which I was like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? And so I was like, oh shit, like this whole which I thought actually was a nice little twist. So they throw in this little side story about she was the firstborn, her power got too crazy, so Odin kind of locked her away and banished her. But now that he's passing, she's on her way back. Her strength comes from Asgard, and she's going to try to reclaim the throne. And he says, good luck, basically, and dies.
Yeah.
And drifts into his little gold dust, as you said, which is kind of crazy. I was like, damn, Odin is back and Odin is dead, like that fast.
Yeah, like that fast, yeah.
Well, he's like the mother bird pushing the birds out of the nest. Like, you're either going to fly or you're going to die. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, sorry I started this whole this
Yeah.
whole drama, but I'm sure you guys got this, right? Yeah,
I'm
yeah, you
tired of
got
dealing
this.
with your sister. You deal with her now.
Which is kind of jacked up. It's like, hey,
Totally.
like I don't know, like he kind of caused this whole thing. Like, hey, you know, your brother Loki, I was kind of, a little bit distant towards him, and that's why he's now evil because I did that. He's just a really bad father. I don't know.
Pretty much.
He's a bad dad. He should
Yeah.
have just did his Odin sleep, got recharged, and been like, "Oh yeah, never mind, let's go party."
I don't know, man. Like it's just weird. Like the whole reason, from what I understand, why Hela didn't attack is because Odin was there. Like she didn't want to fuck with Odin because he was kind of a badass. But once Odin turned into gold dust, then she was like, "All right, I can handle this now." But like Loki was strong enough to put Odin out. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that was more, I think, of just kind of because he tricked him, and then he could use his magical shit, and he just, I don't think he obviously wasn't powerful enough to really like overthrow him, but that's why he had to
Yeah.
like banish him, and then and Odin even said like, oh, it took me a bit, but I was able to overcome the spell and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He just didn't give a fuck no more. But basically, so then the little portal opens and Hela comes out, and she's like, kneel before me. They're like, nope. And then
Nope.
that's when you get the scene from the trailer. He throws the hammer, she catches it, shatters it, which was pretty damn awesome. And then the Bifrost opens, and they end up. Loki gets knocked out, Thor gets knocked out, and Hela continues on to Asgard. Um, so, of course, this is where kind of the movie starts to shift, and we find out that Thor has fallen to Sakaar. That's the planet that he landed on. He's now been captured by Valkyrie, who takes him in and gives him to the Grandmaster, who sets him up to fight his grand champion from his contest of champions. I love the Grandmaster character. Jeff Goldblum was so awesome for the little bit amount of time that he was on this thing. I love the character of it, and I want to see him with the Collector because they've said that they're brothers, and I want to see those two on screen
Yes,
together.
that would be so good.
So awesome.
I was so hoping that was going to be the after credits or something
Yeah.
of them two together. Oh,
Yes.
would have
It's
been
so
great.
weird. Like their
It is
characters are
weird.
so weird. Like to have the two of them. I don't know,
know.
Tavon and yeah, that would have been dope.
Yeah, that's
That would've
exactly
been
what I
amazing.
wanted. But so I liked how Thor's on this chair and it's basically playing the Willy Wonka music and it's going through like, "Welcome to Sakaar," and like, you're gonna meet the Grandmaster in 5, 4, and it sets up this whole thing so um, we set up this contest. He's gonna go fight. That's when he meets Korg, which we said once again. Shout out to Korg, who is just so fantastic. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm a rock creature, but hey,
Yeah, whatever.
this is
Yeah.
me, my
He-
friend. He's
The
got
voice
blades
was
for a
totally
fan."
unexpected.
Oh, I know. Well, like I said, that was Taika Waititi who played him, the director, and he compared it. He said in I forget in fuck, I forget where exactly he was talking about, but he said there's this country where um, the
Was it
bouncers,
New Zealand?
New Zealand, that's what it was. Yeah, that he
Yeah.
said like the bouncers, you go to these clubs and these really big guys, and then you're like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" Like, and they're all really
okay.
soft spoken and stuff. So he thought that would be hilarious to have that like really soft spoken, like, "Yeah, man, what's up, boys?" Like, but in being in this hulking kind of rock figure.
Yeah.
So I thought it was perfect, man. So he does the motion capture, he did the full CG and everything on it, and yeah, it was fucking great. So we already talked
Have
about.
you ever seen Flight of the Conchords?
Yeah.
So not the two main guys, but they have like a travel agent or something that they always go to. And like I thought it was that dude the whole time, and he's from New Zealand. He's always trying to get people to go to New Zealand, and I was like, I bet it's that guy. And then I saw it was Waititi. I was like, oh, never mind. But it sounded exactly like that dude from that show.
I thought it was the dude from Kingsman. I thought it was the main Eggsy.
Eggsy?
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Menace maketh man. Yeah, so no, that was cool. And shout out, if you guys didn't remember, Taika Waititi was actually Ryan Reynolds' best friend in Green Lantern. So shout out to Taika Waititi in that too.
Yeah, it's
Dropping
crazy.
some
I saw
knowledge
that
there.
on Twitter or something.
Yeah, he was the little best friend that he confided in, showed him he was Green Lantern and everything. Funny dude. So we set it up. We're gonna fight this grand champion, and of course, we all know that it's gonna be Hulk. And so we're waiting.
Yeah, we do.
And we get that scene from the trailer. Same thing, like, oh yes, it's a friend from work, And what I think one of my favorite parts of them trying to tie everything together was when he was fighting Hulk and he did the whole like the sun's getting real low and it started
That was
doing
great.
doing
It
the
kind of played that out though. Like I was like, okay, I
That's
get it.
no,
funny.
dude, it was great because it was the only thing he could think of to try to calm him down was the lullaby from Age of Ultron. So,
Yeah.
sun's getting low, big guy.
But he did that for like 30 minutes. It's
No,
like,
he
okay, it was
didn't do
funny
it that
the
much.
first time he did it. Like when he did it in the ring, that was hilarious.
No, but
And
it
then
was
he did,
funny
like,
because when he did start to overdo it, that was when he turned back to Banner and he was like, "Will you stop saying that?" And you got
Yeah.
that moment.
Exactly.
So, 'cause,
And
yeah,
it's like that running joke. Like sometimes jokes, to me, sometimes jokes could be overdone.
right.
But then, like sometimes when you see them coming back, it's still really funny. Kind of like the circle when he was spinning around in the chain. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. He just keeps saying because he's stupid, he doesn't know what else to say, and it was like great every time. I don't know, it kept cracking me up.
Right, exactly. Like, no, yeah, like it was overdone, but it was funny because it's the only thing he could think to like really try to calm him down. So his sun's getting real low. But that fight was awesome, man. Come on, guys. Like, it was so fucking good, and I loved the addition. And we only got to see a bit of it during this fight scene, but the actual electricity powers. Thor turning into Raiden up in this bitch, and actually. When he was getting pounded down, Hulk was beating the shit out of him, and he just shoots him with the fucking big ass electricity bolt, and starts having the shit running. I love that they did the throwback with Hulk doing basically the Loki smash, but with Thor, and then Loki being like, "Yes, now you know how it feels,"
Yeah, he did. I swear they just like replayed the same exact smash animation. It was like he even paused and looked at him for a second and smashed him.
Just the like the look on Loki's face, like the fear first of seeing Hulk, but then the like anticipation where he's like sitting on the edge of his seat,
Yeah.
and it is great.
Yeah, dude, Tom Hiddleston in that exact scene, that's what I was going to say next, was just, he played it so well with just his eye emotions, and like, just like, when Hulk came out, he was like, I gotta go, I gotta get off this planet, like, he was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, I hate this guy, and so, I love that he was so frightened and like, worried, but yeah, so the Thor starts to come back and really start to kick some ass, and then fucking Grandmaster shocks him. He has that little collar on his neck. Ends up taking him out. I love the following scene. We got the hot tub scene. He's all, oh, Hulk in a hot tub. Never thought I'd see that. Whoa, you're naked. Like, okay, that
That's burned
envisions
into my head.
Quinjet.
Oh god.
So let's talk the arena fight. We saw obviously some of it in the trailer. How did you feel that really went and played out, peeps?
Oh man. So
Before you start, peeps, I just want you to know I've been dying to hear this because like this is your jam, man. Planet Hulk.
it is, dude, and like it I think they played it out very well, especially the way it started. Okay, you see, I thought they were going to go the route that they did in the trailer, where like, he's a friend from work, and 2 seconds later Hulk was going to like bum rush him, kind of thing, where he knows who he is, but he also knows that he can't really bullshit or anything, and he just has to get straight to business. But they spent some time actually showing Hulk kind of thinking it out a bit. Like he was like, all right, well, I mean, this is Thor, but then he looked around and looked at the fans. He's like, I can't really piss anybody else off, and he just kept looking around. So I liked that Hulk isn't mindless. He actually made a decision, type of thing. And but in terms of the actual fight itself, I don't know, man. I you know me, I'm Hulk, and I thought it was kind of bullshit that Thor got as many licks in as he did. I was like, come on, Hulk, get up. Get him. And I don't know. But like the fight, I thought it was fun. I thought it would have been kind of cool to maybe add some extra, like, let's make this a little interesting. And he presses a button, and like, I don't know, jetpacks come out, and they have like a jetpack fight. I have no idea. I'm just making this up. But I thought the fight was dope. I didn't think it was the best fight that I've seen in the MCU movies, but I kind of enjoy like the first little tiny little squabble that they had in the first Avengers film. But this one, you definitely got a lot more of it. Like it was really dope. Hulk's little ending, I don't know, that was like his finisher move, right, Don? Like you're a wrestler guy. I'm sure
he jumps
it like
fucking
the
50
punch.
feet in the air and just comes flying down. And then you got Korg going, "Bye, new Doug."
That's right.
Exactly.
Bye, new Doug.
Yeah, I don't know. That it was pretty dope. Like I said, I mean, all I can say is I would have liked to see, I guess, a little bit more just craziness in terms of that fight. But overall, like it was a lot of fun. That electric mode, right, Fred? It's called like Warrior Madness. That's like a state that Thor goes into. It's like Super Saiyan for those that watch anime. They just
there you go.
So yeah, I don't know. When I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, they actually put that in there. I just learned about that probably like 2 weeks before the Thor movie even came out, and that he had like the Warrior Madness, I guess. Yeah, it's been
very underutilized though. I mean, it's like they barely you kind of have to kind of go deep into it, I think, to know about that kind of stuff. Because he's just always using hammer and electricity and stuff like that. So that's not very common knowledge either, I don't think.
Yeah. Again, it was cool. We get to see Thor just, I don't know what, like just evolving as a hero, which you kind of kind of thought he was like capped out in terms of his strength and his powers and all that. Nope. There's so much more to this dude. So I guess just makes it, when he goes back to Earth fighting Earth stuff, it's just kind of a little bit more like, why am I here again? Because
I know, right?
I can take care of all this by myself. What do y'all even do? Just
you got a tank? Who cares? I've been fighting a monster,
Watch this. The whole compound explodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, before I bounce over to you, Fred, I did want to mention that before this scene was the gratuitous Stan Lee cameo, who he ended up being the one to cut Thor's hair off, which I thought was a pretty cool little cameo. He comes out with the little flying propellers, basically, and he's like, "You will not cut my hair, please, sir. Please, sir, do not cut my hair."
Yeah.
I thought it was a great cameo.
I thought it was great.
Unexpected.
I think it's one of my top favorite cameos. I think was Stan Lee. It was great. He's just like a sadistic hair cutter. Like, I'm a serial hair cutter.
Serial hair cutter. And if I'm not mistaken, in the trailer they like showed some other dude buzzing his hair, didn't they? I feel like I saw that.
I don't think they ever showed anybody buzz his hair. I think
they showed him in the chair in the room.
Putting him into the chair, yeah.
Oh, I thought I saw him actually
cutting the
hair.
hair. And then the very next scene is him coming out with the short hair, so.
Oh, okay. I probably just connected those dots.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was a good cameo.
Good cameo. So what'd you think of the fight?
Well, I thought it was great. I mean, I'm not the biggest Hulk fan like Peeps is. I do like Hulk, obviously, but like I thought it was just fun. I thought it was great that each one of them got to really kind of do some good damage. The cool thing that, just to kind of highlight a few specific details, Thor is a warrior. He's been trained in fighting. He knows how to fight. So it was really cool to see him doing actually tactical movements and tactical fighting techniques. He's hitting for the kidney shot, spinning behind him, doing dodges.
Whereas Hulk,
exactly, taking the knee. Everything was like, a thinking kind of battling. Whereas Hulk is just pure rage. So I love that. It's just smashing, punching, throwing, jumping in the air, and coming back down. Like that totally made sense with the characters. And I think that if you think of it in a realistic way, like Thor would have some of those advantages. Plus, Thor didn't.
Agreed.
No one knew that Thor could go Super Saiyan and like Electro Raiden move stuff. And so sometimes the element of surprise is always like what you can do to get like the edge in the fight. So I think when Hulk gets kind of beat down, I was like, oh, Sean's not gonna like this.
I know. I didn't.
That was
honestly,
the first thought in my head.
I didn't.
I was like, oh man, Sean's gonna be so pissed. But then he ends up getting the win, even if it was through cheating. But whatever. But the last thing I will say about the fight too is I really like the detail of, when Hulk jumps up in the air and he's coming down, and then you kind of get the point of view of Thor where he's just sticking his hand up, and then it just goes black. And I thought like that's what the last thing anyone sees when they fight the Hulk right before he kills them. You know what I mean? Like It was just like, whoa, how creepy would that be to just see this big green monster coming at you, and it's just like, that's it, you're done. Everything goes black after that.
Close your eyes, go black. Yeah.
But it was a super fun fight for someone who's not a Hulk fan. I just like ate it all up. Everything was great about it.
I like the evolution of the electrical powers too, because I mean, if we go back on that, like when Odin died and he started to get pissed at Loki, you saw the like over his hand, and but it was just like he didn't know what to do with it. It was just kind of shocking on his hand. And then there
Ooh,
was
what
the
is that?
scene.
Sparkles?
Yeah,
Ooh.
well, that's what I was saying. Then you had the scene when he got to Sakaar, and then he's talking to the Grandmaster, and he breaks out of the shackles, and he goes, "I am the God of Thunder!" And he's like, he's like, "Is that what that was? I didn't hear any thunder, but I saw some sparkles." So that was awesome as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'll if you don't mind, Don. Like, I freaking loved Jeff Goldblum, like his character. It was just so, I don't know, like it just kind of, I don't know, great actor, right? But like he just had that matriarch kind of like feel, and like he just ruled. And then I didn't know really what the deal is with his little right hand woman, but I don't know, she was kind of crazy, but okay, I guess.
Peeps, little fun fact for you: that's the grandma from Moana.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Oh no,
Moana, listen. Do you know who you are?
She
seemed like she was really pissed off.
But yeah, he goes. What did he say? Like when he was talking about Valkyrie, and he asked her like, "What do you think I mean with a B?" And then she goes, "What did she say?" She said like
trash.
She goes
She said
trash, and he goes, "No, were you just waiting to say that? That doesn't even start with a B."
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, his face was just like, "Were you just waiting to say that? Like that doesn't even start with a B."
Well, speaking of, I mean, we kind of glossed over Valkyrie when she's scooped up Thor in the first place.
Her introduction, yeah.
Holy crap. Valkyrie is amazing. She is probably my second favorite character of the whole Marvel franchise right now.
Oh, wow.
Like, absolutely loved her. She
Interesting.
was great. Yeah, dude.
So,
I mean, everything about her was awesome.
Like, I've heard people talk, like, I want to see a spin-off movie, a prequel of Valkyrie and what fucking happened with Hela. Like, that little small little snippet was dope as hell. Just the way it was shot and the slow motion, and I mean, you saw that in the trailer.
That came to life.
Yeah, dude,
it was
gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know. And again, fan theory is the chick that threw herself in front of her is the actual Valkyrie. I don't know her real name, but the blonde haired.
She looked exactly like the comic book version. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So people think that that's who that was. So yeah.
But what's her name? Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she was amazing. Like, I loved everything about her. She was so cool to see. I love the drinking aspect. Like, matches up with Thor. Like, everything was great. I mean, she was a badass, and she just held her own. I totally would watch a movie just about her. I mean, and she's been trying to pitch like an all-female Avengers kind of thing. That I would so be down for that, especially if she's in it. Man, she was great. Now, if you could add her and Sif together, that could possibly be pretty badass too.
I guess she's the only one that didn't die. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's
filming Blind Spot.
Exactly. I saw an article with her saying, it was that she was supposed to be in it. Thank God she wasn't, because she probably would have died with the rest of the fucking.
God, man.
Yeah, like in 2 seconds.
Oh man, we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, she had scheduling conflicts. She couldn't do the movie, and then Kevin Feige said something like, "Well, good for her, because that means she's at least still alive out in this universe after the events that go down in the movie." So yeah, lucky for Sif, man, because I love that character, and I would love to see her return.
Oh yeah,
heck yeah, dude! Like, I could see that, like, Captain Marvel, her, Valkyrie coming together. Like, she's going back home, like, in her space car, driving home. Like, all right, I can't wait to take a bath, and holy shit, there's dust.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Right? Yeah, definitely gonna find out where she's at. But
it seems like she would be really pissed. She's gonna want to kick some butt, so that could be sweet.
Yeah, Valkyrie's introduction was cool when she took Thor. I liked that she was like, "Get off him, he's mine," and then she just falls off the fucking ground.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Again, unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, that's kind of what we got with Guardians of the Galaxy when. That opening scene where you're expecting him to fight off all kinds of things, and then it's just like a silly dancing around. Like, that was the same thing. Like, she shows up, and I'm like, she's gonna just womp all these people real quick,
Right.
and she freaking passes out and falls over. Like that was so funny.
So, and like the thing for me, again, another go ahead and add this to the Peeps beef, but I didn't understand how an electric net was enough to take out Thor on Sakaar when those scavengers threw the net on him. I'm like, he's the god of thunder. He wields lightning like we wear t-shirts, and you're telling me an electric net is taking him out? Like, come on. Like, at least give me a little bit of context. Give me one line that says, oh, that's not normal electricity. It's super electricity that's made of ionized space radiation or so. I don't know, but
It looked like it was a ton of those little discs that like went into his neck all over the net, though. So I mean, it was
But
pretty
even
strong as a
that-
motherfucker.
like I thought when he was gonna go Warrior Madness, like that little thing would have fizzled away or something. But
Well, he hadn't learned how to go full Warrior Madness at that point. Just saying.
Well, peeps, that is what we call nitpicking, and that and that's okay. But not
we needed
everything
him to
needs
get
be
captured.
explained.
We needed him to
Yes.
get captured. Basically, we needed Valkyrie to get him so he could become part of the contest. So
like I would have
maybe
liked
they-
that. Like Valkyrie came down, like he knocked all those dudes out. Valkyrie came down, like you're coming with me. Yeah, right. And then like she just knocks him the fuck out. Like he didn't see
That
it.
would have been. I would have liked that too.
Just saying.
yeah. Well, it was cool, and it was a cool twist when he finds out from Korg that she's an Asgardian. So he's like, "What?" You know, and he's trying to get through to her on that. She says she doesn't want anything to do with the cause. She left that a long time ago. Once again with Korg, I love the conversation when they're trying to pick out weapons, and he's talking about, he's like, "Oh, I missed my hammer," and he's like, "A hammer?" You know, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd wield it really fast, and it could make me fly." And he's like, "You rode the hammer?" And he's like, "No, I didn't ride it. The hammer
pulls
ride."
me.
Did the hammer ride you?
Like,
And
I
he's
just
like, no.
spin it really fast and I
he
throw it and I
pulls
catch
me
it.
off the ground. The hammer pulled you off? And it's like, sounds like you have a very intimate relationship with this hammer.
And like the whole time, like Meek is in the background, like he's just like a kid who just learned kung fu kind of
Yeah,
thing. He's
yeah. He
like,
just keeps doing chops. Yeah.
You know, I didn't think about that, but I'm so glad you said that, peeps, because he was.
He was.
He's just like swinging around, like
The
I
whole
imagine,
time
like
at
just doing
nothing.
jump kicks. And...
Exactly, dude. And when that scene first starts, if you listen, because it's hard to pick up on, but when he's talking in the background and he's like, "Can't we clean these weapons before we reuse them?" He's like, "They got hair and blood all over it." And he's like,
That was awesome
asking
line.
him to like clean the weapon. This is just disgusting.
He was great. I mean, he was an amazing addition. I think they played it up so well, and I'm so glad that they did use that like New Zealander kind of accent type thing, because it's so different and catches you off guard. I mean, peeps, I'm pretty sure we've talked about before where you've seen the Planet Hulk cartoon movie, right? And they have the Korg guy in there, and like you know, he has the more like the Thing voice of, "Oh, I'm a rock guy," you know, like you would expect. So getting that catch you off guard kind of thing, just it adds a little extra spice to it. You know what I mean?
it was opposite for me. Like it was literally that.
Of course it was.
You know, you see the guy and it's like, oh, there's Korg. Oh, he's going to be voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. Watch. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's just okay, I guess. This is a joke,
So
right?
good.
This
So good.
is a joke. Okay, we're not being serious anyway. This is a joke. All right, fine.
Total serious.
I was just waiting for like Hella to like have like a fart joke, like I'm gonna get you. Oh, guilty.
Like when she pulls her hair back, you know, to do the hat.
Exactly.
Oops, my bad.
Oh, jeez. Another funny part I remember with Korg that I'm gonna jump to just before I forget is when Valkyrie goes to break them out, and she goes, "I'm looking for Korg," and he goes, "Who's asking?" "Well, I know you're asking, but is anybody else asking?"
Yeah.
That shit was so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I know
It's so
you're
stupid.
asking, but is anybody else asking? All right, let's start the revolution. He was always about his little revolution, dude. That shit was so awesome.
Oh, dude, when Loki's like, "You look like you're in need of leadership." Oh, thank you.
Hey, how's it going there, guy? You want to come on a spaceship with us?
Yeah. That was so random.
Yeah, you look like you're in need of some leadership. Why, thank you. Oh, man. So, Fucking Korg, dude.
Yeah.
It's so
So I
great.
guess it just so kind of leads to them hanging out in Hulk's room.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't know, Hulk he just kind of came off to, and again, you can put your science behind it. Maybe he hasn't been Hulk enough to actually
Right.
develop into a man. So he is very
Well, if you think about it, they
adolescent.
said he's been Hulk for 2 years, right? And
Yeah.
Hulk has never really talked in the other movies or anything. So
Right.
if he's been 2 years, you could see where basically he's just adapted to. He's a toddler, basically.
Exactly,
You
yeah,
know.
and they've said in the comics like the longer he is Hulk, that's why it actually did it in the Planet Hulk movie. Like the longer he stays as Hulk, the better his speech gets, the more I guess
Right.
intelligent he kind of gets. So
But
it's
I loved his behavior and his demeanor being like he was this little immature kid. Like that playing off Thor I thought was hilarious. Like when they start throwing shit at each other in the room and he's like, "You're the stupid Avenger," and he was like, "I'm not the stupid Avenger," and he like
and he
throws the
throws the
stuff at him.
table at
Yeah,
him.
and he's like, "Come on, man, you could have hurt me," and he was like, "Ugh," like and he goes off, and then Thor tries to talk to him. He's like, "No, no,
No,
uh."
no.
And then he's, "I'm sorry,
But if you
man,"
think about it, Peeps, it's like that the child development almost. Like,
I
Yeah.
he
know.
wasn't
We're gonna
able to
have
talk
teenage
at
Hulk and teenage
Groot.
Groot in the next movie.
How
Yeah,
awesome is that gonna be?
Yeah.
The teenagers like bickering.
I am Groot, Hulk
Groot.
smash.
Dude.
But no, I mean, like, I think it's exactly what Don's saying. Like, he's just been developing for 2 years now, so now he's actually able to construct the sentences, and so that that's what they're not. He's not at like PhD level yet. He hasn't gone to college, Peeps.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. It's my dude. That's my dude. He's over there
But
throwing
he
a
was
ball at the
great,
wall.
dude. You gotta understand, dude. Everybody loves Hulk coming out of this, man. My daughter, like, as much as she knows all the characters, she never really cared about Hulk, to be honest. But we walked out of that movie today, and she was like, "I love Hulk." Like, she was just like all about it. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like, that it's gonna his portrayal in this movie is gonna do wonders for the mass appeal. Like people were just loving him in this fucking movie.
I
Like,
hope so, and I know how Marvel doesn't have the rights to make a Hulk standalone, so I just kind of hope this hope sways. I guess
yeah.
who has I don't know why or anything, but kind of sways it so that that we get a better chance of actually seeing that. So
Well, I was also talking to my cousin Brian after we saw the movie, and he brought up a good point that I thought I'd share with you guys. Is that like he was like, well, how many more movies does Ruffalo have in the contract? So if he doesn't have a lot of movies in the contract, are they trying to cut him out by saying the Hulk takes over? Because remember when he's like,
Right.
if I go Hulk, I
Right.
might not come back.
Banner might never
And
return.
so, yeah, exactly. And we're never going to see Banner again. So that
yeah,
was kind of weird.
that's a good point. I mean, I obviously just kind of looked at it as like the Hulk didn't relinquish control back to Banner or whatever. So if he's if he had been gone for 2 years, when's the next time he's going to relinquish control back to me? But I see exactly how it could be spun from that angle too, Fred. And
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I've reported on my show, and there's been a lot of stuff with Kevin Feige, even Mark Ruffalo, talking about how Ragnarok is the start of a 3-story arc for Hulk that will continue into Infinity War and then Avengers 4 after that.
What?
So that there's this big story arc that they're doing with Hulk that started here, will continue over the course of the next 2 movies as well. So they got something planned for Hulk. It's coming.
Oh,
You can
good.
see them planting the seeds on this, like you said. Like I loved like the line with Ruffalo where he said, I've always felt like we each had a hand on the wheel, but this time it was like Hulk was driving and I was trapped in the trunk. So like that was
Yeah.
really kind of portraying like to you like he doesn't have that control anymore like he used to have, and how he was so afraid that he might never return in that case. So yeah, I'll be curious to see where they go with it. I think that what they could end up doing is I think they might split the characters off for a bit. Maybe in Infinity War, something that one of the stones does or Thanos or whatever will separate Banner from Hulk, and then you'll have 2 characters, and then they'll probably come back together in the following Avengers movie.
Wow.
Where
That's
they
a good
actually-
idea. That's a
you
good
know,
point.
That's in the comics. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
been done. Yeah.
So I think that might be something, but yeah, they said there's big plans for Hulk over the course of these 3 films, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just so that whole setup at there, basically Thor saying, hey, we need to get out of here. We're gonna put together a team. He was like, me, you, the big guy, and then no, Hulk stay. And he's like, okay, just me and you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And he's bouncing
What's the
that
name of
ball
your
across
team?
the wall. You know, and he's like, how about the Revengers? The Revengers. Yeah, I'm getting revenge. You're getting revenge. How about you? I'm undecided.
Do you want revenge?
I'm undecided right now.
Was
but
it like a bowling ball that he was throwing when he
it
bounces
seemed
back
like
and
it,
down?
dude. But yeah, dude, what a scene. So Thor's talking. He's like, I'm about to get out of here, and he chucks it at the fucking window, and it just bounces back in his face.
It's just they turned Thor into a goofball. I don't know.
No, dude, it was awesome. It
He's
was
always
so
been
awesome.
kind of goofy.
Yeah, there was always
Has he?
comedic elements in those other movies.
I mean,
Well, I
but
think,
it was always like kind of like I don't know. It wasn't very like in your face. Like I don't know. Like
I think that's
James
just
Betta.
Yeah, but that's just evolution of a character, though. I mean, like, you know, you look back at the first movie, he's this prim and proper, I'm supposed to be the king of Asgard, and he learns his way, and then, like, once he connects with the Avengers, you see him start to get more of that human side, and then it continued on into Dark World. In the second Avengers movie, you could see him softening and, like, getting more laid back and more, you know, like, throughout all these movies, so I can see that leading into the kind of Thor that we have in front of us today, which is just more of a, hey, I know how badass I am, I know how strong I am, I know what I can do, but at the same token, like, I'm also a funny fucking dude, and I'm gonna crack some jokes and shit.
I think like his original jokes in the first movie were more about like the guy out of place. Like he didn't know what Earth was like, and you know he's smashing the glass. I want another, and then he'd run into, give me a horse or the dog or thing I can ride or whatever.
I need a horse.
And the second movie, they try to go way more serious with that. I mean, that was like the death of his mom, so he wasn't like in a jokey mood, I think. So, and then now with the third movie, he's had all the times with it being in Avengers, being more on Earth. So now he's using all the new humor he's learned, like the more pop culture humor kind of attitude that he didn't have in the first time we ever met him. But he's been exposed to this new planet, this new world, this new culture, and I think he's just absorbed it, and he's just, you know, the cocky but laughable and easygoing guy. So he's just trying to use what he's learned and be, you know, be funny. I don't know. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think him obviously being on Earth for a long period of time too, as well, in between these things, has also obviously changed his attitude overall and different things like that. So, I didn't feel like it was that drastic of a difference. Like, I've heard some people say like, "Oh, you can't watch Thor Ragnarok after watching the first two Thor movies. It feels so out of place." And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I think it fits right the fuck in with it. I mean, it is a different tonal movie, but at the same token, I didn't feel like any of the characters were super far off to where I was like, oh, this is a, you know, mockumentary now, like, on these characters, like, or anything like that. But
I do see where you're coming from, though, Peeps. I mean, I do. I see, like, the jokes are different, but I think what Don has pointed out is the character has developed over time. So as long as, if you're thinking, like, well, it doesn't make sense, the Thor #1 shouldn't be making these, you know, pop culture kind of jokes. Well, that's true, but you have to factor in the time frame that's happened since #1. So, I think that's the difference.
I love you guys, but I feel like you're just really making up excuses for it. I mean, I haven't seen Tony Stark, his character. Tony Stark is Tony. He's cocky. He's, you know, he's got a lot of quips. You know, he's always been Tony Stark. Same thing with Captain America. Same thing with Black Widow. Like, she's always been the same. She's probably changed in terms of, like, she's not like a stone cold killer anymore because
of
the relationship between her and Banner. But like I could kind of see that because she's talking, you know, about conceiving and all that or whatever. But in terms of Thor, you're telling me that, okay, so because Thor has been hanging out with Tony Stark, now he's turned into he's basically Star-Lord now. And I just think that the director and the producers say, hey guys, you know what movie's doing really well? Guardians of the Galaxy. And you know what a movie is also kind of like space stuff? Thor. So let's just make this like Guardians of the Galaxy and everyone's going to love it. And lo and behold, everyone loves it, but it just doesn't. I just in terms of tone, I didn't feel anything when Odin died. Yeah, he's a bad father, But because of that, I don't think that's why I didn't feel. When the Warriors 3 died, I didn't feel anything. I
Well,
was
it's
like,
because
oh,
it all happened too fast. That's why you didn't feel anything.
exactly.
There
That's
was
my
no,
point.
I know, and I get it, and it does suck to an extent, but at the same token, you gotta keep fucking going. Like, look at the events of it. I mean, like, they just didn't have the time. Like, if Odin was on Asgard, then I think it would have been a bigger deal. But because they just had this setup of him being cast away, and I'm just gonna do this now, they could have probably tweaked that away a different thing. They could have maybe had Odin stay back and stay in Asgard while everybody else is fleeing. This is my land, I must stay here, kind of thing. And then kind of being like a captain,
Like
who
I
goes
just
down with his ship, kind of thing. But the Warriors 3, as much as that pissed me off, it's like okay, like, but I don't know what else you could have really done, because you have Hela come. They're there going, "Where's Thor?" And then she just fucking kills them all fast, and like
let's save him to the end of the movie. Like, let's get rid of Scourge completely. He was completely pointless. Let's just throw him out. And everything that they did with Scourge, his little moment of redeeming himself, all that bullshit, let's just have that whole thing be like the Warriors are fighting the Civil War at the end, and she just fucking brutally kills all of them. And Thor is like, they're like, at the end, Thor is like getting taken away in the ship. We gotta go. Surtur's gonna blow up the ship. No, let me get their bodies at least or something. Like, I'm sad and shit. No, we gotta go. No.
But
I think
but
what
Scourge got those guns from Texas.
Oh, Texas.
Des and Troy.
God, the executioner that executes nobody. Like, why are you in this movie? I love you, Carl Urban. Dude, Carl, I know you're listening to this episode. I know you're listening, bro, but like, why were you here?
Peeps, the difference is you want them to have the like action hero death kind of thing. And you think about
they
it like
deserve that.
They do, but you're telling me to think about things logically. One of your complaints is things not happening logically. So, like, if you're the Warriors 3 and this evil force is coming, you're not gonna hang back and wait till the end to go.
If everybody is going to get on the ship, you're like, everybody get on the ship. We'll hold them back.
No. My point is when Hela first shows up, they're not going to sit back and send everyone.
No, in my version, they weren't there. Like, they weren't there.
Okay.
In my version, they were in the throne room eating.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, Scourge wasn't doing his job. Remember, Scourge took over the fucking Bifrost thing, and then he wasn't doing his fucking job. Thor needed to get the fuck out of there when Hela attacked them after Odin died, and it was actually fucking what's his face who fucking turned the sword. They were trying to rescue Thor. That was the only reason they were even in that fucking Bifrost room, was because the second she showed up, they went, "Where's Thor?" Because they were pulling Thor and Loki back, and she just happened to knock them out of the fucking Bifrost thing. So then she came in, and then she took them out. So it made sense that it was them trying to get Thor back, because that's their fucking friend. Like they needed somebody to watch their back and to get pulled out as soon as it happened. That's why Loki said, "Get us out of here," and they did it right away.
And Thor's the leader of the Warriors 3. Thor's the best fighter. Thor's the strongest one. He can whoop all three of them. They can't stand to him. So if she can whoop Thor one-on-one, then she can just blow through. And if she could blow through an entire army, how is she not able to blow through the Warriors 3?
No, I get it. And I know she's a badass. And she is the baddest ass of all the Asgardians.
But I think that scene was to help prove how badass she was, because she shows up and takes out these three warriors we've been 2 movies with that are supposed to be some of Asgard's best. And she takes them out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know. And then they just move on. And then, like, that's it.
It is disappointing that it isn't a bigger scene. Those are good. Those are good actors. Ray Winstone.
I was gonna say Ray Donovan.
And former Punisher, Warzone, right there.
Yeah, dude.
Our new Shazam, Zachary Levi. Who doesn't even get to fucking say a line, and just gets murdered and fucking is gone.
Just dead.
At least the Asian dude got to come back and be like, "Oh, what are you doing here, Hela?"
He was a badass. He got stabbed like 9 times and thrown across the, over the edge, and then he still was like, "I'm just the last one alive, and I shall come."
So see, he got a better ending because he actually like kind of fought her a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Badass. Like,
What was funny wasn't he the one that hanged back in Dark World when the rest of them went back to Asgard because they were saving his world in the beginning of the movie, and he said, "Oh, I need to stay with my people," and then he's the one that gets the big fight.
He stayed back with his people.
Yeah.
He's a freaking badass.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think we're kind of getting off on the side. So at this point, that's okay. But I love that they just kind of threw that whole Infinity Gauntlet thing that everyone won't shut up about. They just said, "All right, guys, we recognize it, and guess what? It's fake. So shut up. Let's not talk about it again. We're done. Moving on."
Although I was very pissed off that a destroyer did not come out from the wall to fucking fuck with them.
Did they destroy the destroyer?
Come on, that was like 10 years ago. Come on, yeah, exactly. they have nobody watching the vault anymore.
They ordered it on Asgardian Amazon, and they had it was like a 7-year back order.
18 months.
Man, I was really hoping they were gonna go like full comic book and have like Thor get his arm chopped off, and then someone's like, "Oh, we have this destroyer body left over. Let's put his arm on there."
Yeah, let's just put this giant ass destroyer arm on you. Just dragging an arm all over. I know.
It'd be like Hellboy.
Right. I'd like to. So let's talk Cate Blanchett. Let's just talk, character wise, of her character Hela. I thought she was awesome, by the way. I thought she was one of the stronger Marvel villains that we've had. She just has such a screen presence. I love when she was standing in front of all of them in Asgard, and she said, "I'm Hela. I'm Odin's firstborn, rightful heir to the throne, blah, 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 blah." And then the fucking Asian dude from the Warriors 3 is like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "Have you not been listening to everything I just said?"
That was awesome.
But what I loved about it was that I felt, like in a lot of the times in these movies, like these stories end up being bullshit or it's fabricated. Like I like that it really was the deal. Like she was their sister. Like when they went into the throne room and they had that painting on the ceiling and she broke it and underneath was Odin with the big horned fucking helmet like hers.
Yes.
And she's holding the hammer in the picture, which I was like, damn, that's why she was able to catch that shit. Like fucking.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she's holding the hammer in the painting. Yeah.
How did you not notice that, peeps? They like zoomed in on it.
Yeah, she's standing right next to Odin with the hammer in the air. So it was cool to see like how like, oh my god, that really was the fucking deal. Like they rode around like taking over all the realms and the planets and shit, and that was really, really cool. Her breaking down the throne room, going down, using the internal flame to bring back that zombie fucking army and her big dog and everything. But I thought she was super, super badass. So Fred, what was your thoughts on Cate Blanchett and Hela?
When they first cast her as Hela, I was like, really? Like, that seems weird. But then right away, I mean, once that trailer hit, I think that scene of her catching the hammer says it all. And, like, you see her caught the way they did the costume and her badassness and her fighting ability was really, really cool. I have to kind of side with Peeps here on a little bit with this particular character because I was a little unimpressed with the fact that she wasn't like the ruler of the Hell Realm or something that she is in the comic books, and that, like what Peeps mentioned earlier, that her ability is to just pull out swords out of her sleeves. So that was slightly disappointing, but at the same time, it was disappointing because it was different. It wasn't what I was used to. So it just, once I kind of got comfortable with that fact and saying, you know what, this is a different thing. It's not the comic books. Like, it's close enough, but tweaked just a bit to kind of give it its own like little flavor. So
don't you
with that being
Fox X-Men me, Frank.
well, I'm Fox X-Men-ing you right now, but it was done in a better way than what Fox does with X-Men, and I think that they stayed closer to the character than we've seen in some things before, and tweaked just some of the details. And the other thing that makes this work with her is that she's not like, it's not like you're tweaking the Joker to the Batman. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like one of the highest rated characters of all time. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that are like, Hela's my favorite. What are you talking about, Fred? Shut up. But like,
there's like 3 people out there probably.
Right.
And we apologize. Fred is a jerk.
Sorry. But the vast majority of people don't really know much about her anyway. So that if you're gonna tweak characters, you're gonna tweak the characters that are a little less known. So for me, it was just kind of like that first initial reaction is like, well, this is different. But then I was like, you know what? It's cool though. It's still awesome. It's still entertaining. So at the end of the day, I really enjoyed her. Her and obviously Kate Blanchett is. I mean, she's a great actress. So her performance was great. I think it fall in line right with everything else, and they had a high power enough actress to be able to stand, right there next to Chris Hemsworth and everyone, and make it all blend and work together.
Hell yeah. What did you guys think about the fact that the twist of her being their sister? Like, did you like that aspect of it, or did you wish they separated it?
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the everything has to be connected in some way thing. I think that we're a smart enough audience that it doesn't have to be a sister, a brother, a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, or something. I think it would have been just fine if she was the ruler of the hell world or whatever. And they don't want to say hell, so it could be like the fire realm or something, whatever.
Nether realm, something, yeah.
Exactly. And so I don't think it was necessary. And again, my initial gut reaction was like, well, that was dumb. But then at the end of the day, it's an easy way to explain her to be able to hold and destroy the hammer. And then we can just move on, and we don't have to spend all day talking about why was she able to hold the hammer? So I was fine with it at the end of the day.
Vision was holding the hammer, and they're not brothers or cousins.
Yeah, but
He's a robot.
Vision was worthy. That's all.
He's an elevator. Remember we talked about the elevator.
All right, peeps. What did you think about Hela?
Loved her character. Did not like her hat. Her hat was fucking. It was inconsistent. There'd be one moment when she was fighting the Valkyries when those spikes were going out for miles. It was like twice the length of her body, and I'm like, wow, the trailer, when she's slowly turning in the trailer, that was dope. But that was not the hat that she was wearing whenever she goes into kill mode. I mean, it's it's like someone putting on their sunglasses when it's time to fuck shit up. She puts on a hat.
The horns manipulated though.
They
changed.
They pointed at people and stuff.
Exactly. They modified throughout the movie. It wasn't like it just was different.
That's my thing. I just didn't like that. I know
Fair
that
enough.
it wasn't. I know that it wasn't something that they missed. I just didn't like it. I wanted those big, long, badass horns the whole time. And at one point, I'm like, why the fuck did they look so little? Is it me, or is it maybe it's because I'm not watching this HD with Dawn right now?
IMAX.
IMAX, yeah. Maybe that's the deal. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. So other than that, though, she was. Everyone says she is the best Marvel villain that they've had. I disagree with that.
I'm with you, peeps.
I've seen really good Marvel. Anywho, but she was. I can't wait to see what else they do with her. Fred and I and the other people know that her and Thanos are going to be shagging up pretty soon, or he's going to be doing things to impress her, whatever. That I can't wait to see her come back. But I mirror what Fred said. I think showing her, what's his name? Odin was when she gets on Asgard, she's going to be even more powerful. I'm like, why? But I don't know. Does Asgard have
because she's Asgardian? They said even the same thing with Thor, that Thor draws his powers from there. So,
peeps, you're not allowed to say the M word. We don't say metachlorians around here.
I apologize.
Sorry, Fred.
But I don't know. I don't know. She raises up her aunt, at that scene when she's fucking all those people up. All the Asgardians, I don't know. She just says something and then puts her arms in the air, and just darkness just covers the entire sky, and then these undead minions that she just summoned just kind of come up out of nowhere and just start like that kind of stuff. I just wanted to see her just be that complete badass. That, again, she's a good fighter and she's good at throwing swords, but that's really it. So I just thought it would have been cooler to see her use magic, and that's one thing I don't really see that much from the Asgardians. Loki, why are you going at him with daggers, dude? Just do something trickstery, shoot a fireball. I'm sure you could shoot a fireball. Most wizards in video games can do that at level 1. I'm pretty sure you can turn them to ice or something. You're an ice giant, right? Go ice mode and freeze somebody. I don't know, something. Use magic. And I thought after Doctor Strange, where we got introduced to magic, now the audience will be able to accept magic. But apparently, we can only accept it if she has like. I guess I would have accepted this better if they would have had like a scene of her preparing for the fight, and then she's shoving like 10,000 blades under her sleeve.
In her suit.
It's like a montage, like dun 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 dun.
Oh my god.
Well, he's the trickster. You know, he's not the god of Hadoukens.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. But I would have liked a Hadouken or two. I don't know. But again, she's dope. I can't wait to see her again. I love like the black, the dark eyeshadow and just like the look of her. And
oh, yeah. She looks sexy as fuck. I was
Totally
So-
surprised me.
and I understand there's reshoots and this is nitpicky. There's one moment where like she has like her hair is like greasy and grimy and it's like going over her face. Like she's just like, oh man, this bitch is fucked up. And the next shot, I swear to God, like she combed her hair and it looked really nice. And
it's the same thing like the antlers, dude. Her hair fucking shifted. It did. It did. It totally did.
Okay, that's fine.
It was like when
I
she
guess.
started to get pissy, that shit was all frazzled. But then when she was chill, it was nice.
That's
nice
hilarious.
and
Her
calm.
hair and her hat changes to her mood
Yeah,
peaks. You don't have a hat
exactly.
like that?
Exactly.
It's aroused. It starts
So
vibrating.
did her suit.
Exactly.
When she got powered up, her suit started to turn green and shit. It was fucking. There's a lot of details to her fucking shit.
And even like her little walk, like she had that sexy swag when she's like
Yeah.
walking away. I'm like, why
That
is
was
she
tight.
walking like that? Oh yeah, because she's a fucking badass. So
There you
I
go.
get it.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm guessing that was my next question. You kind of alluded to it. Was do you feel like she is going to be a part with Loki? Or not Loki, but Thanos. That they are going to make her that death that we know that Thanos is in love with. Do you think that we are tying her into possible Avengers here?
For thousands of reasons, I play this Marvel game, and with the game you can team people up. And if you team up, and the game like has all characters of like the MCU, like they just released a Thor Ragnarok expansion like a little bit ago, and when you team up Thanos and Hela together, it's called like Death Lovers or something like that. So it's 100% something that they're doing. And to quickly throw in the question you asked Fred earlier about like what did you think about her being Thor or Odin's daughter or whatever.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
comics, normally she is Loki's daughter, but I don't want that. That would have been a little bit weird to explain. So let's not go with the comics. Like Fred said, it's okay to change the comics every now and then. But also, like Fred said, whether if she was Thor's sister or Thor's, the best friend that he grew up with, that Odin took out memories of. So because she became a bit of a dick throughout the years, I don't know. It didn't really matter in the end. I don't think he's going to be like, sister, you can be good like Loki became good. Come on, sister. Like that's not going to happen. So who cares? I don't know. Whatever. But yeah,
They just needed somebody to punch.
Thanos and her are going to be boning. It's going to be cool. All right. Sorry, Fred. Go ahead.
I'm on the opposite side of you, peeps. Me and you are going to be totally different sides of the fence on this one because I do not think she's coming back for Avengers. I think they are not going to touch the Thanos love story. I think Thanos is going to come down and just be all about whooping ass. And I don't think we're going to see anything to do with. I think it'll be just kind of like he's in love with death, like like just the concept of killing people.
Like no, that's Thanos' thing, dude. He's a romantic, and it
But
just sucks that the person he's trying to seduce is death. So how do you seduce death? You kill a lot of motherfuckers. So
No, he's been pissed off because no one's been getting his gems. He's going to get gems. He wants the gems. He's not going to get the gems to put him on a ring to give to his girl.
There's
He's gonna
stones
go-
in the MCU, Fred. Get it right.
Oh, even
There's
more
stones.
so. So he's not getting stones to impress a lady. He's going over there to whoop some ass because no one else has done anything. And let me tell you what. I bet you, Ronan was a romantic too. But we didn't get to see that side of Ronan because he was too pissed off that the Xandarians messed up with his killed his father's father's father or some shit. So he was just all about whooping ass, and
Fucking
that's what
Fred.
Thanos is gonna be.
Xandar.
That's what he says. He's like, "My
Yeah.
father," as he's getting his clothes put on by his bitches or whatever. I don't know. But my point is, Thanos is all about whooping ass, and I don't think we're gonna get a romantic backstory. I think we'll get one line that says something to do with him being in love with death, and that's it.
They literally say in Avengers, they will be a great trophy to court death. I probably messed that quote up slightly a little bit.
Yes, but you're right.
It was, and they were talking about Hela the whole time.
And they're gonna bring it back, and someone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's trying to impress death, or loving death, or all he loves is death," or he'll even say, "Is like I'm after death," like whatever.
Fred,
but
it's okay.
No,
you've been wrong before, and
it's true.
I'm hardly never wrong, and it's okay, man. I still like you. You're dope, but it's okay, dude. Yeah,
all
we're
right.
still.
How about you, Don? What you thinking?
So here's what's. I'm in the middle. So basically, she is not going to be in Infinity War, but I think she will be in the following Avengers movie, in Avengers 4, and she will be a part of Thanos' crew in the follow-up film. I don't think she's going to be represented in Infinity War at all. I've heard nothing about her involvement in Infinity War. But I think, especially after how much money this motherfucker makes over the weekend, I think even if they were just slightly thinking about doing this, after box office receipts, they will be like calling up Kate Blanchett, being like, "How fast can you get to fucking set? Because they're filming this shit right now, and they're like, we're gonna link this shit up and make it happen." Because I do think that was the whole reason. I don't feel like the initial intention was to make her the goddess of death. I think that was kind of put in towards the end to therefore set that up. So I do think that was kind of what they were going for, is not to do an actual, death from the comic books, but to have some form or manifestation of it, that will go, that we can have Thanos go after.
And for those of you that don't know what the heck we're talking about, just so you know, in the comic books, Thanos is actually in love with the embodiment of death, the Grim Reaper, the cloak, the skull. And in Marvel comic books, the Grim Death is a woman, and Thanos found her in his scientific studies one day and like, holy shit, I love this chick. I am going to impress her. And he does a lot of bad stuff to do that.
Now, Don, to go on with your point, I do think she will come back. I don't think she's going to be death. And I think that Thanos' crew is going to get wiped out in the first Avengers.
And then children of Thanos.
Exactly. And then he's going to use the life gem or something.
You can't just have a dad and children without a mom.
No, he's going to use the life gem, and he's going to bring back all the villains that have been killed, which, granted, aren't too many. But we're going to get Ronan back. We'll get Hela back. We'll get Malekith back. And he's going to have like this
Ultron
new crew of...
Wait, he's not.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I guess he was made from an Infinity Stone, so why not?
Exactly. See, so we're going to get like this, team of Ultra brought back from the dead bad guys.
The Cabal.
There you go.
Very well be. All right. Well, let's dive through the rest of the story because we got way off fucking track. Basically, so Thor escapes the tower or whatever that the Grandmaster has. He gets back to the Quinjet. He's booting it up. Another awesome scene where he's like, "Thor." I'm trying to do the password. Thor Odinson. Thor's strongest Avenger. And then he's
thought it was going to be Goldilocks.
No, but Point Break was a great callback to the first Avengers movie.
It was. My favorite joke of the first Avengers movie. That was my favorite part. You know how much I love Point Break.
Yeah, because he's a Point Break. Access granted. Like, that's fucking awesome. So he's getting ready to take off the planet. Then, of course, Hulk comes barreling in, fucking breaking the jam chat, being like, don't leave me. And it was cool. And the little video comes up from the end of Ultron with Black Widow talking to him, saying, hey, where are you at? Let's bring you in. And, of course, that's pretty much what trips him out and brings him back to Banner.
I really like that. He keeps smacking himself and doing stuff to keep himself.
He's trying to stay Hulk. Yeah.
He's like, no banner.
Yeah, that was dope. That was really
And it
dope.
was a cool difference to see. That transformation in itself was so neat to see being different because, when he turns around and smashes, it's so smooth and it's so controlled in Avengers. But then in this one, it was like a fight. It was a battle, like fighting for control. I just thought that was great.
Yeah, the whole transformation was awesome, and then having Banner wake up and think like he's still in fucking Ultron, basically, and he's like, did we save Sokovia? Like, how's everything
Dude,
going?
that was
Like,
2 years ago.
it's like, what? Like, fucking, like, how's Nat? Like, oh, yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
I've been Hulk for 2 years. So basically, Valkyrie ends up, her and Loki are on the hunt for them because Grandmaster's pissed they escaped. Um, Loki and Valkyrie actually get in a pretty decent little fight, and then Loki puts the image into her head of her past, which we get that awesome scene we alluded to earlier that looked like a painting come to life of them riding the horses coming down, Hela throwing up all the spikes in the air. I was so anxious to see where that scene was going to come into play. And I'm a little sad it was only like a flashback scene because I was like, man, can you imagine a whole battle scene done out like in that style? Like
Gorgeous,
Oh,
man.
jeez.
it was
Absolutely
so
gorgeous.
awesome. It was like 3D without the glasses, and like, it was shot so beautifully.
Yeah.
And I know peeps. We did this off air when we were talking earlier, and you said you felt like, oh, she was like, I don't give a fuck, and then she gave a fuck all of a sudden. And like I said, I truly believe it's because of Loki putting that image in her head. It made her care again. 'Cause she relived that pain and the memories of all her friends dying, and she's like, you know what? If this bitch is coming back to Asgard to fuck everything up, I want a piece of her now. So
Exactly.
it really woke her back up from not giving a fuck to, like, if Loki hadn't done that, she would have never gave a shit. But it was because of that vision, and then she was like, all right, I'm on your side now. Like, let's do this.
And I do too, but I would have just like a 30-second cinematographic moment where you see he puts that in her head, like the shot goes back to her, like she has a tear going down her face, and then like angry face, and then she knocks out like Loki, and then so like you see that hit her and that actually brought her to that moment. I mean, as soon as he brings her back, she's just like, oh fuck you, and then punches him and then knocks him out. Next scene, hey, I'm gonna go with you guys. Like you don't actually see the impact of that. At least I didn't.
She's
I've
too
only
bad.
seen
She's
it
too
once.
badass for a fucking tear to come down her face.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, that's,
Or too drunk.
She's a fucking warrior, dude. She's like that hardcore. Like even
That's
Thor
true.
was like, I always wanted to be a Valkyrie too. Till I found out they were all women.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's
like
true.
it was awesome, man. Like so they basically are on the way to get out of there, which I love that they had to go through the devil's anus to get off the planet.
Which
That was a little much for me.
Oh come on, that was tight.
I don't know.
that's
It
like
was
Drax and
funny,
his
but
nipples. Like it's just
yes, exactly. Drax and nipples, exactly.
Oh, the Drax nipples thing was awesome.
Still funny.
I got
but,
sensitive nipples. Why aren't you wearing your jetpack? I have sensitive nipples. Hey, man, I got sensitive nipples. So, it happens.
TMI done. TMI man.
So they basically they need a ship. They go to break out, get a ship. Of course, Loki tries to fuck them over. So Thor was too smart and already put the little shocker thing on him. It was, oh, brother.
that was actually cool to see that Thor finally learned.
Yes,
You know,
exactly right. He's like,
I thought
"We play
that
this
was
game."
a
And
nice
he even
touch.
said,
It was
Again,
dope.
Play this
That's
game
Thor
over and
evolution,
over.
guys.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Some more Thor evolution.
Yeah. No, it was great. He said we play this little game every time, where it's me and you, and then you twist on me, and then we fight, and then we hug, and so it was cool that he was already a step ahead of him. I love when they were going up the elevator, and he said, "Let's play Help Me," and he was like, "What? No, I don't want to play that." He's like, "Come on, let's play it." And then they do the elevator thing. Help my brother! Help him! Help him! He just chucks Loki at the guys. He's like, "I love this game," and Loki's like, "No, this game sucks."
2 more Easter eggs for you guys when he
right.
told the
Ooh.
story about Loki when he turned him into a frog.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, the frog
The
Thor.
frog Thor.
Yeah, there's the comic book of Throg, right? Isn't that his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah, Thor.
Frog.
Thor as a frog. So that was a nice little throwback. And then I'm sure you guys noticed, but like some of the heads on the Grandmaster's
Oh,
Tower,
yeah.
Man Thing and Beta Ray Bill, like for real, that was crazy.
Hell yeah. We've
Yeah.
seen a bone structure in Guardians that kind of look like a Beta Ray Bill looking
Right.
thing, and now we have that thing. All we need is Beta now. Come on.
I know.
I thought for sure Beta Ray Bill was going to be in this movie.
Me too.
There was talks about it, wasn't there? Like in the
Yeah, there
beginning,
was a
like
lot of
early
discussion,
drafts.
and just because they
Yeah.
were going so weird and they were going to these weird planets, and this would have been the place to come across him for sure.
So
definitely-
real quick with that, like this is another. It's my fault. This is why I didn't enjoy the movie as much. But I'm thinking, okay, Thor gets his hammer destroyed, so maybe he tries to get another hammer. And hey, Thor, we found two dying stars, and we made actually two hammers. And there's a little Easter egg of an extra hammer that they made, or something like that. I don't know. It's probably.
I was hoping. I honestly was hoping one of the after credit scene would be him getting another hammer, because I do know he has his hammer back in Infinity War, so I'm like, like so. I just wish that was kind of explained in this movie.
Man,
show some dwarves, like some other kind of funky races.
When we talk about the after scene, I'm going to tell you what I thought would have been the best after scene, but I'll wait for after scene talk.
All right,
cool. Well, I'll think of mine right now. I don't have one.
Yeah, all right. I was going to ask you, so.
I liked the other joke of when they were wondering if they should trust Loki before they escaped, and Thor said, "Yeah, one time when we were kids, so Loki knew how much I like snakes, so he transformed himself into a snake, and I picked it up to adore it, and he transformed back and stabbed me." I was like, it was such a random ass story, but it was so funny. He was like, he knew my appreciation for snakes, so I picked it up to check it out.
Yeah.
And then he transformed back and stabbed me.
Damn it.
So I love the escape scene. I thought that was pretty awesome. You had a little kind of almost like a Star Wars-y kind of, flight scene, and how they're where's the guns on this ship? Oh, it's a personal ship used for orgies and stuff.
For orgies again. Orgies. Is that even necessary? So, but I did love the Happy Birthday song.
Oh, yeah. The Happy Birthday song was great. We couldn't stop laughing to that thing. Holy shit.
So good. So we have a really cool fucking escape scene there, and then of course we head back to Asgard, and that sets up our final battle here. Basically, Heimdall, which we kind of glossed over. We can touch base more if anybody needs to, but Heimdall, obviously they said that he was a traitor and all this stuff, but that was obviously from when Loki was presented as Odin.
Yeah.
He was trying to get him away from being the Bifrost guy. So Heimdall went into the woods. He was of course helping everybody try to escape from Hela. Really cool. I know he wasn't utilized as much in this movie as well as the other ones, but I thought he got to do some really cool stuff in this film, at least, with being the protector. And I like that scene when Thor was kind of like, Heimdall, let me see what you see, and kind of went into his head, and that was
cool.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a little. I mean, I didn't. At first, I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" But I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of dope," because Thor's eyes had that little
they
lion
turned yellow.
thing.
The yellow,
Yeah, so
Which
I thought it was cool. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, like, I didn't get why Scourge became the Watcher, because can he see everything? That, like, I don't know. Is that how that shit works? I don't know.
They just needed somebody to turn the sword in the Bifrost. That's all it was.
But like that. But the thing is, like, that was Heimdall's thing. Like, he knew when to turn it on because he could see everything. Like, this, because Scourge, like, could he see Thor?
No,
well, they had
that
walkie-talkie thing.
Yeah, the thing glue. Remember, like, when Thor was like, "Get me out of here, hello, Heimdall," and then the thing was glowing and with Thor's voice on it. So that's how Scourge.
I didn't know that they had it tuned on Thor. My bad.
Maybe he had like a little Star Trek walkie-talkie pinned to his jacket.
Okay.
But all I wanted to say about Heimdall was that I thought it was really cool, specifically that one scene where he was fighting those demon guys, and it's just that slow motion stab, and then you see the guy like get ripped in half as he slices through him.
That was dope.
That was super dope.
You got to keep Heimdall alive. Black Panther's coming up. We got to see him pop up over there. You know?
Right.
He's gonna go to Wakanda.
Yeah,
come on, Peeps. Is that only because he's a black guy and he has to go to Wakanda?
Right.
What the hell, Peeps?
Yeah. So racist.
Let's just move on.
So we got our big final battle. Hela's basically trying to take over Asgard still. We got Thor, everybody shows up. We got the big final fight. I loved Banner jumping out of the motherfucking spaceship and just falling flat on his face on the fucking bridge.
Holy crap, that was the funniest thing in the whole movie.
Dude, his body just glunk.
Dude.
My daughter laughed so fucking loud at that scene when we watched it today. She was like,
I was crying laughing.
Yeah, dude, that was funny.
And then they do that close up of his face, and he's just all, his hands all fucking twisted.
Yeah, I'm like, did that nigga just die? Like, oh damn.
I know. I actually have heard some people speculate, like, "Oh, that's how they kill off the Banner character, and it'll only be Hulk from now on." But I know Ruffalo's in fucking the next two films, so I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
That's
But,
true. You
Yeah.
didn't see him again after that. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
exactly. You know, so he stays all Hulk status. But that shit was so funny though. He's like, I'm gonna go down there now. You'll see who I really am. And then just clunk on the fucking
Dun-dun.
bridge. But
It's like in the back of my head, I was thinking like that would be funny if he didn't transform, and like
Yeah.
that happened. Oh, that was so good.
well, that
That
was
good.
that was almost like a throwback to the first Incredible
The
Hulk
first
movie
one.
with Norton when he dives out the fucking helicopter
Oh,
and
right.
doesn't transform and hits the fucking concrete.
Or even Avengers, like he can control it on the drop of a hat. Like I'm always angry, and then
Yeah.
punches.
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
It's been a while.
Exactly.
He's a little rusty.
He's a little rusty and shifting. I'd say one of my only complaints about this final scene was that I loved when he was wrestling that big ass fucking dog, but I hated that they fell off the bridge and then it was like their fight was kind of off on the side in the water, and then
Yeah.
like it wasn't focused on a lot, and I thought that was
Barely.
going to be a really cool scene because that was that in the trailer they'd show that scene where it jumps on Hulk and Hulk grabs him by his fucking jaws. And starts to rip it apart and stuff like that. And I felt like that fight between him and that dog could have been really, really cool if they would have like
Yeah.
focused on it a little bit more. But there
Yeah.
was like 10 different fights going on at that time, so it kept kind of doing that bounce around. So you have Thor and Hela fighting, and then Loki and all them show up on the ship, and they're fighting everybody on the bridge, and then Scourge has his moment, and then you had so much going on at that fucking moment.
I
Like,
think
and-
it was. Go ahead,
You-
Pete.
no, your turn. I went last time, buddy. It's your turn.
All I was gonna say is I think that scene specifically comes down to one thing only, and that's money. I think they sat around and were like, we have to get rid of Hulk because he's too powerful, so he's gonna fight the dog, and he costs too much money, him and the dog both. So let's throw him in water, so we don't have to really, spend a whole lot. And so half of the fight, they're like barely coming out of the water. And so, it's just a way to get rid of Hulk so he doesn't just tear through all the bad guys by himself. And you could save some cost on the graphic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It just, like Don kind of said, it just ended really quick. Like, oh, it bit his leg. Oh shit, something's about to happen, and he falls off, and now Hulk won.
Right,
What?
exactly.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he didn't even beat the
That's a
thing;
good
it
point.
just fell off
Yeah.
the fucking waterfall.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I don't know, like that scene it bothers me too because that's like one of those classic things they do in movies where it's always about the perception of the camera. The camera is facing Heimdall and everybody running towards the bridge. So of course we, the audience, don't see the giant fucking dog and the whole army standing at the other side of the bridge. But you think Heimdall and everybody would have been like, "Hey, we probably shouldn't go down that bridge. Why? You see that fucking dog out the way at the end? We're not going
I
to
don't
go
know.
down."
That's a long ass bridge, man. I don't think they could see it.
Oh.
Until they got
At
about
some
halfway
point,
down.
you would have seen that. Like,
Yeah, that was the point
house-sized
that
dog.
Heimdall stopped them and then said, "Oh shit, I think I see a
Oh
big
shit!
fucking
There's
dog down
like
there."
5 feet in front of us, guys.
And then it goes back to
They had a run. They had a
Heimdall,
run.
the guy that sees everything coming, right? Who
That's
didn't
what
see
I'm
the big
saying.
fucking dog at the end of the bridge.
Yeah, he
That's a
had
good
something
point.
to say.
But
Maybe someone was actually using magic, peeps, and they just didn't touch on it.
You're right. They used it. And they didn't even fucking tell me. Dicks.
So let's talk. So Thor and Hela are fighting. Hela's
Yeah.
kicking his fucking ass. She knocks his fucking eyeball out, which I'm like, what the fuck?
She
Exactly.
burned it out with a knife. I'm like, what the? How did that happen?
Yeah,
Exactly. It's so fast.
It was so fast, dude. All of a sudden, he
Yeah.
had no eye, and I was like, where, what, huh? Like
The hole. God.
just a hole in his fucking face. I was like, damn, that shit's heartless. And then so she's beating his ass, she's stabbing him, all kinds of shit. And then Thor has a kind of little zen moment. He goes back to the little fucking cliff. He's talking to his dad. He's like, hey, I can't stop her. She's too fucking strong. She's destroying Asgard. And of course, the message is, oh, Asgard's just a place. It's it doesn't matter. It's where the people are. That's where Asgard is. And then tells him, tap into your powers. Basically, it's all about that electricity. What you're not the god of hammers. He's like,
That was awesome.
What are
And that's
you?
a good
I'm the
point,
god
too.
of thunder.
Yeah.
And so that was awesome because that's that moment where she's like, I'm the goddess of death. So what is your power again? And then he's like, and then just fucking shocks the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And then comes fucking barreling down on the bridge. And again we get dun 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 dun.
Hell yeah.
It's so awesome, dude. That fucking scene from the side view of him just coming down with the electricity, and he fucking does that spiral fucking flip down the fucking line of them and just starts
That was like a
electrocuting
Raiden move for
Yeah,
I
sure.
said the
dude.
same thing.
Yeah, dude. He just did that right down the fucking row and just was shocking everybody and throwing people everywhere. And I was like, this is so badass. And it was cool because they tricked us in the fucking trailer because, you know, fucking they covered up the whole fact that he only had one eye in that fucking scene because in that trailer, both his eyes are fucking glowing when he comes fucking barreling down on the bridge.
Yep.
You know, so
I
I
don't
was
know.
like, nice little twist there. You know, so fucking, it was just so badass, dude. So of course they get everything done. They decide how are we gonna do this. Thor relays the whole, this is, you know, Asgard is where the people are. So he tells Loki, go grab fucking Surtur's head, put it in the eternal flame, and let's just give Asgard to Surtur because he'll destroy it, and then Hela in essence will get destroyed with it. And he does that, and of course, not before he probably takes the Tesseract. So keep that in
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
That motherfucker stole that Tesseract, hands down.
You know he did. He put that.
Hell
in
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, we don't want to talk about where he put it, but yeah, he's got it.
He's got it somewhere.
He's got it.
And he's gonna be giving that shit to Thanos to be like, please don't kill me. Here you go.
Yeah.
I got
seriously.
it.
I
I
will
got
be
it.
your lackey, I swear. So yeah, so he gets Surtur's head, puts it in the eternal flame. He fucking grows all big, starts destroying fucking Asgard. Which then I fucking laughed my ass off. Hulk fucking out of nowhere just comes running down and he's like, monster! And just jumps at fucking Surtur and starts
Like, no,
hitting him in the head and
don't
shit. And he's like, God damn it, for once, can you not smash, please? You know, and he's just fucking, I love the dude. And Surtur just flicks him fucking off, basically. And he's like, no, come on, no, don't do it. You know, Hela's pissed. She goes fucking after Surtur, and basically they just take off on the spaceship, and Asgard is destroyed. And like we said with Korg, he says, we can rebuild as long as the foundation is good. And then, boom! Well, the foundation is no longer intact. So, you know, so basically we're now on a spaceship with all the survivors. Where to? We're heading to Earth, which I thought was pretty interesting, and that's where they want to go with everybody. Thor now has a patch just like his dad, and we thought Meek was dead. Once again,
That was
I
funny too.
actually,
Where
I
do you
had a
think we
sad
should go,
moment there. I
Meek?
was like, oh shit.
He's like, oh, Meek is dead. I accidentally trampled on him on the bridge. Oh, you're alive.
I've just been carrying around for an hour.
Yeah, he goes, I feel so bad. I've just been carrying him around all day. And then so, yeah, and basically he takes the throne finally. He sits in the throne. All right, Captain, where are we going? You know, and we're heading to Earth and end credits. So just an amazing movie. We have 2 after credit scenes. First one is pretty cool. You have the setup again. Hey, are you sure we should go to Earth? Thor's like, of course, everybody loves me there. and then Loki's like, but what about me? And he's like, yeah, that's probably not a good place for you.
Yeah.
And then the shadow approaches, and it's this massive fucking ship, which of course we are to assume is Thanos. For the people that saw the leaked Infinity War trailer or read about it, it starts with Thor just kind of floating around in space. So that leads me to believe their ship is about to get blown the fuck up, and he's just gonna be floating in space and captured by the Guardians of the Galaxy. So very interesting there. It's cool because it's gonna be interesting to see too if they remedy his eye, or if that's just something they're going to keep him in a patch from now on. Because I know in that Infinity War trailer, he did not have one eye.
He did not have a patch.
So,
That's right.
you know, when the Guardians find him, he's got 2 fucking eyes. So I'm like, man, is that just something after the fact we're going to CG out? Or
Just
or what are we
reshoot
gonna
it
do
or
here?
something. Yeah.
You know, put a little green patch on. But, yeah, so that's the first after credit scene. The second one, I think, is probably one of the worst that we've ever had.
Worse
I
than
was
the Howard the Duck one, honestly.
so disappointed. It's just basically the Grandmaster coming out. There's been the revolution, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys," and he's in that spot with all the fucking Ravagers, basically, that are looking to, you know, eat him or take him as a captor, and it just was like, eh. I mean, it was cool to see Goldberg again, or Goldblum again one more time, but it was just like, it was silly. It didn't really do anything. Like, I feel like what kind of sucks is I missed the days of the old school after credit scene that led us to the next movie. And
Yes, me
now
too.
these new ones lately are just like, we're just adding on to the film you're watching. And that's not the point, man. The point was always, where are we going? You know, like, which I guess the ship coming is the first step, but where was the rest of it, man? Like, where was just something else? Like, whether it be just a sign that Hela's still alive, or I was hoping to see Thanos in the ship cockpit, maybe,
Mhm.
or just something, man, or maybe something leading into Black Panther, since that one's next. Um, so I hate that we're kind of get like one decent one, and then the rest are kind of just this comedic kind of throwaway. So, Peeps, what'd you think about the after credits?
Very underwhelming, like both of them. Even the one with Thanos' ship. I mean, it was okay. Oh shit, there's a ship, and there was no confirmation. Like you said, it would have been cool. Like Thanos' ship. There's a big ship, and then camera quickly zooms in to like. I don't know, the deck, and you see like Thanos kind of like smiling or something like that. Like, oh, like the confirmation that that is
Yeah.
his ship. Like, but I don't know. Maybe that leaves room. I think honestly, what they're doing with a lot of these after credit scenes is like people now have to go on the internet and do research. I see videos already. The after credit scenes explained. Like, why at this point do we need to explain it? Oh yeah, because I'm pretty sure my mom doesn't really get who Thanos is and his ship and why that's going to be a big deal. So. And then, like you said, the second one, funny, humorous, is a little like, oh, yeah, my loyals, we're doing a mutiny or whatever he said. I don't know. It just, yeah, it was whack. It was whack. Whack Arnold's.
All right, Fred.
I'm with you guys. I thought I'm gonna start with the last one first. I thought the last one was totally whack. It was unnecessary, unneeded. It's cool that we get these like little tidbits. I mean, all of the after credit scenes, if you think about it, are unnecessary. That's just little extras that they give to us. But I'm with you, Don, where I
Yeah.
think it should lead to something, just like a hint at something else that's to come. I'd rather them have, if they're going to be doing like, let me show you a small clip from the next movie, then instead of having that stupid joke scene, like throw a little clip of Black Panther so we get to see a little scene from that or something like that. But, it is what it is. I guess we shouldn't complain about getting extra material, but at the same time, I'm sitting there through the whole freaking
Mm,
credits. I want something to make me feel like the payoff was worth it than just like a quick little like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't
right.
even laugh. I
Yes.
just was like a, and then to talk about the first one, it was also kind of like I like the discussion between Thor and Loki, and that's fine. And then you see the ship like that, it's just kind of like, well, shit, okay, that's it. Like I don't know. Again, I guess that's the lead in, but it's not really leading anything to it. I rather have them just stopped at the discussion. I mean, I don't what we know they're gonna fight Thanos. Why would we need to see some random ass ship? So I don't know. We'll see. But they were a little disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, little
Well,
bit of a bummer, especially when you sit through 10 minutes of credits and then it's something that like you're just like, oh come on, really?
Exactly.
That's what you left me with.
well,
Um,
oh, Fred, do you have like, was that Black Panther your alternate ending?
No. So my ending before that, real quick, I just wanted to touch on your run through, Don, of the ending there about the patch and Thor taking on the patch. That totally caught me off surprise, or caught me by surprise, excuse me. And I didn't see that portion of it. And I was talking with my cousin Brian, who he probably should have been on the podcast instead of me because I'm still in all his material, but he was
Okay.
telling me he knows a little bit more about like Norse mythology than I do, and he says that's like a reoccurring theme in Norse mythology, and that's like what Odin actually originally gave his eye to be able to gain knowledge. So it's like that symbolic of Thor's now lost his eye, and he's gained knowledge. He's become, he's continued his evolution. I think that's a theme of the movie is his evolution and how he's grown and where he's come from to where he's at now and his maturity and whatever. So I thought that was kind of a really nice nod to anyone that knows about the Norse mythology stuff. Like they might be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So that was
An
pretty cool.
eye
But
for an eye.
an eye for an eye, and then
I don't know. I'm just.
another eye. I
I
don't know,
thought
electric eye.
that'd
But
have been cool if he would have materialized an electric eye and
yes, he just walks around with that glowy
Yeah.
right eye like Cable.
That's funny.
Okay, so my after. Oh, did you
No,
were
go
gonna
ahead.
add?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say my after credit scene. This is so we saw the hammer get destroyed. Now, if you know about the comics, you know that there's now a lady Thor. But how freaking badass would it have been if like you just see a
Ooh.
female hand reach down and grab the handle, and then the like Hammer
starts to shake.
reconstructs or shakes. Yeah,
Or no, not
like
that. Like just like a little shiver, like something's about to happen, and then it just kind
yes,
of.
or like maybe a little sparkle. You see a little lightning sparkle come from
Yeah.
it. Like,
Oh.
but they don't have to show us the actress. They don't have to show us who it is. Like you just see a female hand grab it and pick it up. And I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but wasn't because they were in Norway and wasn't what's that guy's name? The doctor from Selvig, wasn't he in Norway in one of the storylines? They're like, oh, he's over. I know he's in somewhere in Europe, but I thought they had said
We'll
Norway.
say yes. We'll say yes.
So
yes.
if that was the case, then that's already set to maybe have Jane Foster over there. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I wanted to see just that female hand pick up the hammer, give a little lightning or whatever, and then boom, cuts out. So you don't have to show me much, but that's like sweet female Thor's coming down the road.
I don't know if they want to go female route right now, so that's why they wouldn't do that after credit scene to introduce it.
we gotta get our female Avenger group like.
But that's what's cool about the comics too. Right now, you have unworthy Thor, who is Odin's son, the regular Thor, and he's wielding like this big axe now and other weapons or whatever. And then female Thor has the hammer, so you can literally have both of them in the same world, and it still ties into the comic book. So I don't know. That was my thought. I was really hoping for that, but they got to have Thor with a hammer when he fights Thanos, I guess.
But Jane didn't dump me; I dumped her.
Yeah.
Again, man, just goofy.
All right, well, let's go around. Let's wrap this baby up. We're going on the 2-hour mark here. Let's give our final thoughts. Any other points you guys want to make? Love, hate, whatever it is, go ahead and throw it out. I'll throw it to you, peeps. Go ahead and lead it off, and then end with your final score.
Oh man, like I said, as much as I'm being nitpicky about this whole thing, I didn't hate the movie. It's just in comparison to all the other Marvel films that we've seen up to this point, I was really expecting just a little bit more. I wanted to be more, have just more feeling like when a major character dies, when a major event happens in these Marvel movies, example, Captain America, Winter Soldier. I mean, the death, quoting my fingers, of Nick Fury, when that happened, I was like, wow, that was like, damn, is he really gone? Kind of thing. Like I just feel like they gave that more. There was more meaning to it. It meant more to me than in this movie when things were happening. It was all really fast and it was just kind of like hokey. Like it was like, hey, this is a joke. It's real funny, but like it was hard for me to take it serious. Like, yes, Asgard is now gone. It's destroyed. That's a game changer. Game changer, waving my hand kind of game changer. But that's a big fucking deal. An entire race has just lost their entire planet kind of thing. That's a big deal. I didn't really feel it. That didn't hit me. Hey, we're all together, right? Hey, home is where you make it. Well, I don't know what movie that was, but that's just the moral of the story here, right? Home is where you make it. And in the end, they're all flying off happy, and they just literally lost so much, and you didn't see that. You would have think, kind of in the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, one person died. One person that was in one movie that was a bad guy in the last movie, and like it was a pretty fucking big deal. This movie, they lost a planet and how many people, and I didn't feel it. And that's my thing. That's my whole beef with this movie, is like I don't think it had that Marvel that emotion that Marvel gives me with these movies. I get attached to these characters, and if they take these characters away, they're going to give them a good sending off, and I don't think that happened in this one. And Mark Ruffalo's character, Bruce Banner's dead now, and I didn't really feel that one either. I'm just kidding. I think that's hilarious that he probably broke his neck though. That'd be great. So in all honesty though, but like I said, I mean, in terms of overall in this movie, I don't hate it. I just really wish they would have done several other things, differently in this movie. I wish they would have handled it differently, but it is what it is. The movie's out. People are loving it. We're probably if we're ever going to get another Thor movie, it's probably going to have the same vibe about it. So I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to be taking my kids to see it. I'm going to definitely buy it when it comes out. I had a lot of fun. I was cracking up. The characters are great. The effects were freaking phenomenal. The music was spot on, except the one time I thought the music was unnecessary is when he's on the fucking chair and he's going down and they're explaining what Sakaar is and they put on the World of Imagination. Like,
It was perfect.
I get it.
It was perfect.
It was perfect for a movie,
perfect.
but why the fuck are they playing an Earth song on Sakaar? Like,
I don't think he was actually hearing that. I think that was
no,
for
I
us.
feel like, okay, if that's the case, I guess it's how you, I don't know. I feel like that shit came on like it was playing in the background in the imaginary speaker that they were in. I don't know, but whatever.
A world of pure imagination.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you
but-
think the Queen song was on while he was like fighting or?
No. Yeah. Did you see the guy in the background holding the?
Yeah,
speaker?
with the boombox. John
Yeah.
Cusack's back there holding up a boombox.
Son of a bitch, Fred. Shut up.
All right.
Call me out. So final rating, man. Like, I honestly, again, enjoy the movie. I would give it 4. Hate me if you want. I'm not going to really give it the half. I did my once upon a time we all rated our top movies of all the Marvel films from 1 all the way down. I'm counting 17 movies, Don, including the Spider-Man one.
Yeah, like I said, man, I was just going off the top of my head real quick. So
Yeah.
I didn't
No, that's
pre-plan
pretty good.
that,
No,
so
that's
I was
good.
close.
I was thinking 32,
I thought it was
so you did
16.
a lot better than me. But Thor Ragnarok, and hate me if you want, everybody out there, but Thor it's number 9 for me out of all 17. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. 4. I'm not going to give it that 4.5 because there was a lot of little nitpicky moments I had in here, and I'll just end with Hulk should have won, and that's it. So Fred, take it away. Go.
Well, Peeps, you said a lot of good things about it, and so I'm glad that you at least fell in the 4 range. I wasn't sure you were going to get that high, so
I didn't think you would.
that's a damn good score anyway. So
Yeah.
look, this movie was a boatload of fun, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. If I like break it down and think about it like story-wise and all these things, yes, there's holes. Yes, it's not a quote-unquote perfect film, but it was a blast. It had so much cool action, a lot of laughs, and you could argue that maybe it was too much. Last I saw a review that said it was like a joke machine where they were just throwing every joke at you every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you know what? They stuck, so who cares? At the end of the day, I went in and I watched this awesome movie. I loved so much about it, and it was just a super fun blast. So, I mean, I love the action. The fight scenes were fantastic. The choreography was great. The cinematography was amazing. We already talked about the scene with the Valkyrie and Hela. I mean, that's going to go down as one of the coolest cinematic shots ever. And then
Agree.
we have acting. They have top-notch actors playing against the already top-notch actors that are these established characters. Everyone that they added in had something we liked. We loved Korg and his silliness. Well, most of us loved it. Peeps just kind of thought it was okay. But, and we Valkyrie is fantastic. I absolutely love that character. So not only are we getting the traditional characters that we liked to begin with, but everyone they're adding in is adding something new. From Jeff Goldblum to every single person that we saw come on the screen, I think, except for, I guess, maybe Scourge if you're like Peeps as well. So
he's whack.
Even him, I thought he was awesome. So everyone that we're seeing new is matching and holding their own against everyone that we've seen before. So all of those things combined with the music, with the colors, even with the trailer, it even had an amazing trailer. Like everything about this movie was fun and cool and awesome. So I really dig this one. I give this one a 5. Again, if I'm breaking it down.
Oh my god.
Oh, dude, it was just too much fun
Mm-hmm.
and too many good characters. I'm going to the 5 range.
Okay.
On my scale, I had to reorganize some stuff because I've been rewatching a bunch of these, and so my order of all 17 has changed a tad bit.
Changed a lot, yeah.
But I would say that Thor Ragnarok lands at number 4 spot for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Well, I hate to be put on the spot because I did not do my list before we did this, so I have I have no idea. I'll have to let you guys know where this one falls because I don't want to just say a number right now and then be like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But it definitely is going to be up there. I think it definitely is the best of the 3 Thor films. I think it's one of the best overall Definitely top 10 for sure, and then I gotta just see where it kind of falls from
Well,
there.
your Thor 2 was number 8, so we'll just say that this is number 7 for you.
Well,
And
I can bet that it's above Thor 2.
so, did you like it better than Captain America 2 or Guardians
He's
of the
got to think
Galaxy?
about
I
it,
don't
Keith.
know,
He's got
man.
to
See,
think about
Okay,
it.
I
it's all
don't
right.
He's
know
got to think about it.
because
All right.
because
Maybe after
also
3 more viewings.
well because
I'm
also
thinking that
since we did that list, Spider-Man: Homecoming came out and
it's
fucking
true.
Guardians 2, and
That's true.
I have a lot of love for those two movies right there as well. So Spider-Man: Homecoming was probably my favorite movie of the year so far, and I'm gotta maybe say Thor just took that spot. So
What?
I absolutely, like I said, man, I saw this movie at 10:15 last night and went again at 11 o'clock this morning. So it I it was great. I absolutely love this thing. I was always a fan of this character. I think Chris Hemsworth is outstanding. I think the dude has amazing comedic timing. I mean, we all knew it from those little YouTube videos they put out of him, like with the roommate. Like that's where it
Oh
all kind
yeah.
of started, which I think Taika Waititi directed those too, and I think that's where those all kind of
I
came from.
honestly feel like that was the Thor we got
Right.
this movie. Yeah.
True.
To an extent it was, but those things were so funny, and it was like letting him just kind of do his do his thing. And like Fred said, and like you guys have said, it was just there was no weak characters in this movie for me. I thought everybody came and brought it, from Chris Hemsworth to Tom Hiddleston to Kate Blanchett to Tessa Thompson to Jeff Goldblum.
To Meek.
Everybody, even Meek,
Yep.
definitely brought it. Korg, just literally, just everybody was so awesome in this. I mean, it is a fun movie. It's got action. It's got everything you absolutely want from a film, and that's all I want is when I walk away from these films, what else can I hope that it would improve on? And I got nothing else for it, which puts me right back just agreeing with Fred and leaving it at a 5 out of 5, because it just there's nothing I would change about this film. I mean, there's little things I would change, but in the end result, it's still the film I wanted going in. I wanted to have that action comedy fucking flow, and it gave me that in spades. It all kind of just worked for me. Um, and I can't wait to see where the character goes from here. I mean, unlocking those Raiden skills and everything. Like, I'm curious to see that go down. I want to see Thor fucking shooting electricity at Thanos and shit. I just can't wait to see where it goes from here. I'm so excited for Infinity War. We are in a great time in our lives right now that we have all of this, and we do have 17 films in the cinematic universe that we can go off of, and I think 22 by the time Phase 3 is done, which is just insane. And we'll be able to look back at this entire story and see how it all unfolded. It's going to be pretty damn amazing. Thor Ragnarok is awesome. It's off to a hell of a start. It made, I think, about 17 million just on the Thursday night pre-shows, and it is tracking to make about 118 million this weekend, which is outstanding. That is more than either of the previous two Thor films have made, and definitely one of the biggest of the year debut-wise. So I'm glad to see that people are turning out for it. Like I said, it's like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is the best overall reviewed MCU movie of all time, which is just crazy because we've had so many good films in this that that 96 is sticking right there. So it's being loved all the way around, and I think they hit the right mix there. And I know Taika Waititi said he'd love to come back and make another sequel. And I think after this weekend, Marvel and Kevin Feige and all them would be down to do another one as well. And I think them doing kind of this kind of theme, being a little bit more lighthearted, doing a little bit of a more comedic tone, is something that is going to keep Chris Hemsworth around, as far as I assume. Because I know I watched an interview with him where he said he felt like playing the character was getting a little bit stale for him. And when Taika came in and pitched the movie to him and said, we're kind of going this comedic kind of action route, and they talked about it, and they really discussed it and broke it all down, he said that just reinvigorated him into the character and everything. So I think if they kind of keep that flow going, it's going to get him locked in. We'll get more Thor. We'll see where it goes, man. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I thought this was so great. I will definitely see it a third time. Whenever I can get a chance to get my wife over in there, I'll go take her again. My daughter has even said, "Dad, I want to go see that again." So whenever, so we're gonna go check it out again at some point, maybe next weekend. I can't wait to sit through it again. And I definitely recommend to everybody out there that hopefully you've enjoyed it if you're listening to this, since it's spoiler filled, and if you're just one of those people that don't care about spoilers and you wanted to hear this to see if you should go see it or not, now you know, go check it out. 4 stars from Peeps, 5 from Friggins, and 5 from myself. And that'll do it, man. That's your Thor Ragnarok spoiler review.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. And definitely follow these guys on Twitter. You can follow Peeps at For My Peoples and Friggins at Friggins. And, of course, myself at DX Don Mega. And, of course, the show at Am I on the Air. And thanks for tuning in. And we'll probably suit up again here soon in a couple of weeks. There's a little movie called Justice League coming out. And if these guys want to talk about it,
wrong song.
if these guys want to talk about it, we'll reconvene and we'll break that one down spoiler filled as well. So thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you next time for another Am I Still on the Air? Peace.
Red Dragon!